Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Sunday, September 28th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can, Cash App, $ ORION NWSF, or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Los Angeles Dodgers versus the Seattle Mariners. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Sunday, everyone. On the left, one of the greatest baseball players ever to live. It's showtime, Shohei Ohtani. And on the right, our center fielder stud, Julio Rodriguez. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Los Angeles Dodgers. Leading off for the Dodgers at DH, Shohei Ohtani. Batting second, playing shortstop for Los Angeles, Mookie Betts. Batting third, playing first base, Freddie Freeman. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, right fielder, Teoscar Hernandez. Batting fifth, playing left field, Michael Conforto. Batting sixth, playing center field, Andy Pages. Batting seventh, third baseman, Kike Hernandez, who has been the hero of Game 1 and Game 2, getting hot at the right time. Batting eighth, playing second base, Hae-Sung Kim. And batting ninth, catching today for the Dodgers, Ben Rortvedt. And making his last regular season start for the Los Angeles Dodgers before he retires at the end of this year. What a fantastic year for my dad's favorite pitcher other than Sandy Koufax. 10-2 in his final year. ERA of 3.52. Amazing, Clayton Kershaw. And as you can tell, the Dodgers are bringing their A+ lineup. Let's see what the Mariners are going to do in response. And now let's get into the starting lineups for your Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting second, DHing today, the best catcher in baseball, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. He's at 60 home runs, so if he needs to try to tie Judge, he'll have to multi-homer today. If he gets one, he'll get to 61. Two, to tie Judge in 2022 with 62. And then if he can hit 3 in one game, which he's never done, that would give him the record. Batting third, playing third base, good vibes only, Eugenio Suarez, who also is looking for a record. 49 home runs. If he can get one today, that'll put him at 50 for the first time in his career. Let's go, Gino. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching today, Mitch Garver. Batting fifth, playing center field, Luke Raley. Batting sixth, playing shortstop, J.P. Crawford. Batting seventh, playing right field, Leo Rivas. Batting eighth, playing second base, Cole Young. And getting called up from AAA this morning, playing first base, great to see you in the lineup and on the team, Miles Mastrobuoni. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 4-5 record, an ERA of 5.53. If he can get the win today, everyone will be at 500 or better for the starting pitching staff, Brian Wu, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and hopefully we can add Bryce Miller to that stat. It's Miller time, baby. So as you're looking at the lineups, the Dodgers are bringing their A+ lineup, and we're, putting out our C lineup. We don't have some of our main starters, based on rest, based on making sure that they're going to be okay in the postseason, like Josh Naylor. But not having Naylor and Polo and Julio in the lineup obviously is going to make a difference, you would assume, in the outcome of the game. This is the last broadcast on Root Sports. So again, I've loved watching Root Sports over the years. It'll be a Mariner channel, Mariners TV through MLB starting next year. And again, they are going to be making cuts with about 40 plus employees, a lot of cameramen, a lot of employees. Now, I'm not really sure what that means for Jen Mueller, Angie Mentink, and Brad Adam. Hopefully they're still employed by the Mariners and we'll be able to see them. But even though, we're going against an A-plus, playoff lineup, everyone on the Dodgers is, exactly the strongest lineup. They're trying to sweep us. And, we're putting out like a C lineup, not our greatest. But I still think that we're going to have a chance today. We dropped the first two games, basically with Kike Hernandez being a hero in game 1 and game 2. Hopefully we don't have too many balls hit to Randy Arozarena. Obviously we know he's a liability out there in left field, and hopefully we can compete. We lost yesterday 5-3. We lost 2 days ago 3-2. So it's not like we've been getting blown out, but we definitely need to homer. And again, when we homer, we win. When we don't homer, we lose. And hopefully we get a few guys to homer here today. And again, let's go Mariners. Tridents up. First pitch from Bryce Miller to Shohei Ohtani. Low and away, 1-0 count. And again, I'm going to miss Root. Again, the Root app might not have been designed, the most, effectively and whatnot, for people that tried to use that maybe through the computer. But I know through the cell phone, it works great. And again, I'm definitely going to miss it. And I know there's going to be changes going in as Shohei fouls that one back behind the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. But hopefully there's not too many changes going from Root Sports to Mariners TV through MLB. Hopefully the cameras will be 4K and they'll be better, like Apple TV Plus. And hopefully we'll still see a lot of the familiar faces as well, as Ohtani rips it into right field. And Rivas is playing right for the very first time. And that's a nice stand-up double there from Shohei Ohtani. Cody in the building. What's good? Marine Bean in the building. PNW in the building. Patrick in the building. Navis in the building. Let's go. Gibson in the building. What's good? Steven in the building. What's good? And again, we're going against an A-plus lineup and an A-plus pitcher, finalizing his last start and going with, kind of a C lineup. But I still think that we're going to have a chance. Nice there. Double by Shohei Ohtani. Rips it in the right field. And next up is Mookie Betts. Obviously, we did not have Mookie and Freddie play in game 1. Obviously Shohei played, and now they have all 3 of them playing. And again, including Teoscar Hernandez. So this is definitely not going to be easy. But hopefully Bryce will give up, 3 runs or less. We score 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits. We should be in the mix here on the last broadcast on Root Sports. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. And hopefully Cal Raleigh will multi-homer today, and if not, hit at least 1 to get to 61. 2 will tie him to get to Judge's 62. 3 will break the record, and he's never hit 3 in a game. And hopefully Gino gets to 50. There's quite a few, little stats that we can still add on for the last regular season game that we can root for our Mariner players here against the Dodgers here this Sunday afternoon. Tridents up. Let's go M's. Tyler in the building. What's good? Bricks in the building. What's good? And again, we want to make sure we're finishing off on a win. But again, we're not playing, Polo, Julio, and Naylor, due to just, making sure that they're rested for this playoff push. But, obviously, going 17-1 and then dropping 3 games in a row to the Dodgers, not ideal, even though we're not really playing for anything. But again, if we were playing for something, what would the series be? Would it be Mariners 2 wins, Dodgers 1? Would it be just the same as it is right now? We don't really know. But obviously, if we had a stronger lineup in game 1 and game 2, I definitely feel that we would have won one, if not both, honestly. But again, it is what it is, and we just have to move forward. 0-2 pitch. Check swing. Does he go? No, he does not. No balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Betts. But again, when you're not playing the best players in the lineup, that's going to affect the outcome. And it definitely shows you when we don't have Josh Naylor, we don't win. And again, it's other, reasons why. You got to give Kike Hernandez credit. Randy, obviously, not the greatest defender in left field. Anything that goes his area, it's almost a nightmare, and there's reasons, why that we dropped these first 2 games. But again, not having the best lineup definitely hurt. And obviously, the Dodgers were kind of playful, with their lineup as well. And hopefully we can end up getting the dub here, and then we'll figure out who we're playing. Guardians, Tigers. Obviously, we'll get some games and outcomes when this game is about to wrap up as well. 1-2 pitch. And Mookie with a slow dribbler there. Long throw to first, off the bounce. And got him. There we go. And we got Miles Mastroboni playing first instead of Luke Raley, which I like. And again, we got a few guys that are out of position. Leo's playing right field. They're trying to get a lot of the younger guys in the lineup. So obviously that's why we have, Raley playing, Leo playing, Cole playing, Mastroboni playing. But again, even with that being said and not having, Julio, Polo, or Naylor, we've got to find a way. And we might have some of these guys pinch hit late, Julio or Polo. Naylor, I think they're going to rest because they just want to make sure that everything's healed up. Freddie Freeman, slow dribbler, throw to first. No double play opportunity there, and that is 2 away. Nice job there by Gino with the defense. And again, we can soak in the last broadcast on Root Sports and, root for obviously Cal and Gino to, hit those home runs. And again, we're going to need a couple home runs if we're going to compete today. Yeah, and again, if we had something to play for, like if we were playing for like the number 1 seed or, to get, certain position, I definitely think that the mindset would have been different and the outcomes would have been different too. So, kind of like not having anything to play for besides, okay, if these 2 teams play each other in the World Series, the winner would have gotten home field advantage. And obviously the Dodgers won the first 2 games. So if that happens, they'll get home field. But, it definitely hurt us by not having something to quote unquote play for. Pitches outside, no balls and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. And Bryce Miller on the mound with a 4-5 record, an ERA of 5.53. If he can get the win, it'll give everyone on the starting pitching staff a 500 record or better. And he pops up into right field. Leo Rivas is there. And nice job. Leo's not normally a guy that plays right field, right? So now you're bringing out Clayton Kershaw. And this is my dad's favorite pitcher besides Sandy Koufax. And again, we've seen him at the back end of his career struggle with injuries, a win-loss record that maybe wasn't ideal, and an ERA that was a lot higher than normal. But here in his last season for the Dodgers, 10-2. Great job for the vet. ERA of 3.52. And again, I don't know if anyone would have anticipated that. Even Dodger fans maybe were not anticipating such an amazing record. Obviously, he's got, great batters to give him some a little cushion, so to speak, with Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, and Teoscar, and this amazing lineup they have. But still, that takes skill, to be in your last career season and to have a 10-2 record. You're not going to see very many Hall of Famers look like this at the end. Maybe it'll look a little bit more like, Justin Verlander, where it's going to be kind of up and down. But again, you never know. And again, this is not going to be easy, but hopefully we can find a way here against Clayton Kershaw. I highly doubt he's going to pitch all 6 innings. I assume he'll pitch 2 to 4, and then they'll pull him, and then they'll bring someone else in. But for any Dodger fan, obviously this is going to be an exciting time to be able to watch Kershaw in the Pacific Northwest one last time. And I imagine if me and my dad had extra money, we probably would be there at the game here today. This is his last regular season start, but since the Dodgers are in the playoffs, he will be playing. So this is his last regular season start, and this will be his last year in the big leagues, but he will pitch in the postseason. Obviously, he doesn't have any injuries, and hopefully he won't, after this game, and we'll see where it goes. I can always respect greatness, and again, my dad's been a Dodger fan since the 50s, and he's been very loyal. He's just like us, watches every single game beginning to end, which is rare, and to be able to watch all the games, again, not something that you see, very many people do nowadays. First pitch from Kershaw to Randy, and he fouls that one back. 0-1 count. Kershaw on the mound, Randy Arosarena in the box. Let's go, Randy. I mean, you had a pretty good hitting day yesterday, but again, your defense is just makes you want to pull your teeth out, and again, any ball, that goes in his area that's a ground ball, singles turn into doubles turn into triples. Obviously the hustle, the lack of effort, and then also being able to throw the ball into the infield after you get it. Let's throw a laser like Victor and Julio. Why does he always lob it? It just seems like everything on defense is kind of a joke to him. And again, we don't want players like that, in the future. Again, I know you're an all-star player, but we want guys that actually hustle and care, about the team, not just individual stats. And, I don't know if anyone has pulled him aside, but again, it's just unacceptable. That might have been okay in Tampa Bay for the Tampa Bay Rays, but again, I would be willing to get a player that's not as good, offensively, but much better defensively. And, and if that means that we get a guy that hits 15 to 20 home runs in left field rather than a guy that's 25 to 35 home runs, but is a better defender, I'll take that, And again, we'll see where it ends up, with Randy and his future with this team. But, it just seems like it's a game in, game out type of problem. And if we play someone and they hit balls to him, that could be the reason why we lose, like yesterday. Out of position, not hustling, not being able to get a good grasp on the baseball, and not a strong throw into the infield as Randy pops up. And that is an easy catch for Mookie Betts, and that is one away. All day in the building. What's good? Next up, the best catcher in baseball, the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. He's at 60 home runs. If he hits 2 today, that'll tie Judge in 2022 with the record with 62. If he hits 3, he's never done that in his career, he would break the record. And first pitch from Kershaw to Cal, he pops it up. No home run here, and that is 2 away. Got to work the count, especially going against a future first ballot Hall of Famer in Clayton Kershaw. 10-2 record in his final season, 3.52 ERA, magnificent. Next up, third baseman, good vibes only, sitting at 49 home runs. Can we get one more home run out of Gino for 50? He's never done it in his career, and we would love to be able to get off to an early 1-0 lead. First pitch in there for a strike to Gino, 0-1 count. Yeah, and even the Mariner players can give Kershaw some love, knowing how great of a career he's had. And it's not like you get to see too many lefties as far as pitchers. Now you got, obviously Screwball, and a few others, that have made names for themselves like Crochet. But obviously Skeens as kind of the new, main guy as a righty. But it's kind of nice to be able to see some lefties with a skill like Clayton Kershaw. And obviously Screwball will take over the reins as being the top dog as lefty moving forward, even though Crochet will be nipping at his heels. And we got Skeens, obviously, as a dynamic righty. 1-2 pitch to Gino. And chops that one behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kershaw to Eugenio Suarez. Yeah, Skeens does not have an ERA over 2. That's what makes him so magnificent. Just imagine if he had run support like Screwball did with the Tigers. Imagine if Skeens was actually on a good team. It's kind of scary to think what his win-loss record could be. He could probably hit 15 to 20 wins in that range every year, for the most part, if he had a good offense behind him. 2-2 pitch to Gino. Pitches inside. Good eye by Eugenio Suarez. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kershaw to Suarez. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. 3-2 pitch. And Gino crushes that into right field, but stays in play, and that is out number 3. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes. 100 on the dono train. and we'll be looking for 5 to 15 subs. So based on my streaming program, they've actually been able to improve the sound, throughout the streams, which is nice. So my mic is going to pick up more, just normal sound, and it's going to sound clearer and more crisp. And then with also that being, upgraded through the streaming program that I'm using, obviously the music, on its own has been a little bit higher. So I've turned it down from, normally I have it at 35 volume, and today I have it at 30. So for the people that are in the stream right now compared to the people that watched it yesterday, it should sound a little bit lower, the music wise. So hopefully it's a good balance. I'm going to kind of experiment, between volume 30, 32, and 33 at some point, but I decided to, make it a little bit lower, 5 points lower. So hopefully it's not as overbearing as it was last night. I didn't realize that based on the mic upgrade with the sound through my streaming program, that the music would be louder, even though I haven't made any adjustments to it. So I figured I would tap it down a little bit lower, and I think everything should be good to go now here. End of the first inning. 0-0 Dodgers and Mariners. And sometimes, you have to kind of do a give and take. And I always go back and listen to the broadcast to make sure that the mics are not getting into the red, so it doesn't sound distorted. And, we want to make sure the music is on, but we don't want it to be like, too overbearing, where it takes over my broadcast and the voice of the stream. So hopefully it sounds good. Flying Monk says it sounds good. And again, hopefully we can get on the board early and often in this matchup, even though the Dodgers got their A lineup. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Dodgers in the top of the second. Leading off for the Dodgers here in the top of the second, left fielder, the former San Francisco Giant, Michael Conforto. That was a great pickup in the offseason. Batting second, center fielder Andy Pages. And the hero in game 1 and game 2, third baseman Kike Hernandez. And I don't know if Kike is doing great because I got his foul ball as my first MLB souvenir in 2019. But I've always had a special, kind of bond with Kike. I always follow his career, especially after getting his ball, they're in Seattle at T-Mobile. And hopefully he ends up not being the hero 3 games in a row. I mean, I'm going to give love and praise to Kershaw and Kike Hernandez, but I don't want that to be the reason why we lose 3 games in a row. First pitch is fouled off. That's 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch in there for a ball with the knuckle curve low and at the knees. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Michael Conforto. Yeah, I already kind of assumed that it was going to be a tough matchup for the Bucks. I've been a Bucks fan since '95, and after they blocked the punt for a touchdown to go up 7-0, I said, "Uh-oh, I know what kind of game this is going to be." And the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. The Bills might arguably be the best in the AFC. Could we see a Bills-Eagles Super Bowl? I definitely could see that, but I'm definitely still hoping that I can make the NFC Championship game and play the Eagles again. Obviously, Detroit and a few other teams will have something to say about that. Rams, Seahawks, Commanders, there'll be a few other teams that'll be jockeying for position, but obviously the Lions, the Packers, the Bucks, the Eagles, Rams, Seahawks, there's a few that are going to be jockeying for position, but one thing is for sure, the Eagles are very good. I mean, they had the blocked field goal for the touchdown on the last play of the game to beat the Rams, and their special teams has been the best special teams unit so far this year in 2025. So hopefully we'll be able to come back, but we're down 31-20, but again, we only had 6 for the longest time. Godwin and Wirfs are back, but we lost Mike Evans with a hammy. So, and we are usually, not being able to win games without Mike in the lineup. And that is popped up into Randy Arozarena. And luckily he doesn't have to field a ground ball there. And that is 1 away. Crazy that the Tigers might not make the playoffs position-wise. I mean, obviously, we already know the Guardians, Tigers, they're in. It's jockeying for position, so to speak. But to be able to be so good and then to kind of hit a wall and then have the Guardians kind of take it from you. Same thing kind of happened with the Astros and Mariners. We took it from them, but we'll see what happens here. Obviously, the Astros are not in. Tigers, Guardians are, Red Sox, Yankees are, Blue Jays, Mariners are. So we'll see how it all plays out here today. Oh, 1 pitch. Big swing and a miss to Teoscar Hernandez. No balls and 2 strikes to the former Seattle Mariner and Toronto Blue Jay. Top of the second inning, 0-0, Dodgers and Mariners. Yeah, Tigers are in, Guardians are in. I just kind of meant based on, who we're going to play. 0-2 pitch. And that's popped up. And a nice easy out there by J.P. Crawford there on Teoscar. That is 2 away. And then we'll see what happens with the National League as well. Crazy that you have so much movement on the last day of the regular season, but 28-39 since the start versus the Mariners on July 11th, where we swept them in Detroit. So, wow. And that's why football is crazy, right? You never know. You can have one of the worst teams in football in the Saints trying to get the first pick in the draft and, competing with Buffalo today. That's why the NFL is so amazing. You just never know what you're going to get day in and day out. Next up is Hae-Sung Kim with a runner at first with 2 outs with Bryce Miller on the mound. Let's go, Bryce. 1-0 pitch. Crushes that one into left field, foul. 1 ball and 1 strike to Hae-Sung Kim. But if there's any updates that you guys want to be able to put into the chat for the NFL, feel free. It's not going to be something that's not allowed. It's definitely allowed, and it would be encouraged. So if there's anything that's important to go over, let us know. And Kim crushes that into right field, and that one is gone. Wow, 30 rows deep. And Kim with a big 2-run blast on Bryce Miller. That is not ideal. And now the Mariners are down again, 2-0 here early with a big blast by Kim. And again, Kim is not a home run hitter. And again, he got all of that pitch out of Bryce Miller, who has had a bugaboo of giving up home runs throughout the year. Next up is catcher Ben Rortvedt, and hopefully that's the only homer Bryce gives up, because if Bryce gives up 5, we probably were going to take the L unless we end up getting a few guys to homer today. And again, they're playing their A-plus lineup, a very strong lineup with pitcher all the way down 1 through 9. Their normal, regular, routine lineup. We're playing with a bunch of fill-in guys. So it's definitely going to be harder when you don't have Polo, you don't have Julio, and especially not having Naylor. Having no Naylor in the lineup is not good for us. Like, he is such a big difference offensively and defensively that I don't know if people fully realize the impact of Josh Naylor game in and game out. We need to sign this man for the rest of his playing days in Seattle. There's no doubt about that. JP is playing short, and Mastroboni gets it there for out number 3. So we got Miles Mastroboni playing first, even though they originally had him in center field, and they made an adjustment. They have Luke playing for Julio in center, and then they got Rivas playing in right field for the very first time, but it looks like he's doing an okay job. And then obviously Cole Young is coming in, and that was a late move about 10 minutes before the game started, and they brought him in at second base. So Randy, Cal, Gino as kind of, and JP as kind of like the regular guys. And then you got Garver catching today, Luke Raley, Rivas, Cole Young, Miles Mastroboni. And we know, that Garver, Raley, Rivas, Young, and Mastroboni, even though some of those guys are kind of like backups, they can still produce. But again, it's Kershaw on the mound, so it's going to be a little bit tougher. We have to hope that they have a meltdown at some point in the game with Kershaw or the bullpen. But the bottom line is we're going to need to be able to, get a few home runs and a few RBIs. And obviously ESPN is taking a nap like they typically do. And now they finally update the scoreboard about 5 minutes late. And let's see what is going to happen here for the Mariners in the bottom of the second inning. We got to try to get to 1 within the next 3 innings to kind of stop the bleeding, so to speak. I mean, this is the last game on Root Sports. I mean, I could have done Eagles, Bucks. I mean, I'm still going to do Sunday Night Football. I could have done the Ducks game and Penn State, which was a thriller, over the Mariners. But again, I wanted to make sure that I'm, rewarding the fans and myself, for all the hard work that we've done with the Mariner games this year. And, even though there was some other options, the reason why we're at the sub count that we're at and the reason why we've gotten the support that we've gotten this year is because of the Seattle Mariners, not necessarily the Ducks or the Buccaneers at this point. We'll still get good views when I do Ducks and Buccaneers, but this is the last series and we want to make sure that we try to finish strong, even though we dropped the first 2 games, and we just need some of the bats to open up. Leading off for the Mariners in the 4-hole, catcher Mitch Garver. Batting second, center fielder Luke Raley, and batting third, shortstop J.P. Crawford. And again, even if we end up getting a couple walks by Kershaw or a couple guys get plunked, that might be what we need. So that way we can get that big 3-run homer or grand salami to kind of, get us back in the game. Solo dingers will help. But again, at this point, we're already down 2-0, and it kind of feels like we might need another Polo 3-run blast like we had yesterday. But again, we have to limit the balls that go to Randy's area and just hope that these other fill-in players will step in today, being the last broadcast on Root Sports. Two balls and 1 strike from Kershaw to Garver. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss by Garv. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mitch Garver. 2-2 pitch from Kershaw. Low and at the knees. 10-2 record with an ERA of 3.52. You couldn't have asked for a better last season with the Dodgers, and they're obviously in the playoffs in the wild card, so they'll be trying to do some damage as they go in, obviously, and will continue playing as the Mariners have 5 days off. And hopefully when those 5 days, it sounds like there's going to be big swing and a miss by Mitch Garver. Down he goes. Clayton Kershaw with a punch out to the applaud of the Dodger fan base. And that is 1 away. Next up is Luke Raley. But again, there's going to be some Mariner postseason scrimmages on Wednesday and Thursday to kind of keep us up to speed. The players are going to hang out with each other, and they are going to be doing, batting practice, and they're going to try to keep as active as possible as Raley crushes that one into right field foul. Now, if that was fair, that would have been exactly what we would need from Luke Raley. We haven't had a nuke from Luke, it feels like, in a long time, and hopefully we can get the job done. Oregon ended up winning on the road. They had a lead. Penn State, fired back and ended up going into overtime. Both teams scored. Then in the second overtime, the Ducks scored on the first play, but went for a 2-point conversion and got intercepted. And again, Penn State on the first play on their drive, we picked it off, and then we ended up winning. So again, they had a very good chance. If they scored a touchdown and kicked the extra point, we would have lost. But luckily, the defense came up big and got a pick, on the first drive for Penn State from Aller. And we ended that real quick, and Ducks ended up getting the big victory. Big swing and a miss there on Luke Raley, and that is 2 away. Yeah, double OT. Next up is J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. As one of the regular players in the lineup, we're going to need him and Randy, Cal, and Gino to step up even more so here today. So I watched the whole first half while I was prepping, for the Mariner stream as JP fouls that one off. I had it on the DVR, and I actually recorded overtime, 30 minutes extra, because I had a feeling that it could go OT, and it did. And then when I was eating dinner after the Mariner game yesterday and the stream ended, I rewatched the whole second half, including overtime. And JP with a nice base knock into left field. And just as we say, we need JP to step up. What does he do? Bring the electricity early with a big single. Nice job, JP Crawford. And again, we know you got ice water in your veins. You're a great defender, but we're going to need your bat. And nice job, JP. Next up is Leo Rivas. Let's go, Leo. See if we can get on the board right here and get it to 2-1 or 2-2. Yeah, I never miss Mariner games, Oregon games, Bucks games. I try to watch a lot of Blazers and Kraken as well. But if it has to do with any of my teams, if I have a chance to record it, I'm definitely recording it. I'm definitely watching it. But I try to watch live, but I didn't want to interrupt my Mariner broadcast by just, not paying attention fully and just watching that Duck game. So, but a big road win, great road winning streak. And, we'll see how high they go in the AP. Obviously, they should be number 2 behind Ohio State, but we will see where it goes. And if Dante Moore keeps playing like that, there's a chance he could be first pick in the draft. But if he goes to a shit team like the Saints, that could be trouble. So we'll see. I guess it's better than being drafted by the Browns, but we will find out as the season continues. Pitches low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. So Kim homered to right center, 409 feet with Conforto on board, and that just happened a few minutes ago. 2-0 Dodgers. So that is what has happened up to this point. Another ball there for Kershaw. 3-1 pitch. And Rivas crushes that one towards left field, foul. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kershaw to Leo Rivas. And again, this is not going to be easy. 10-2 record with an ERA of 3.52 for Kershaw. And then we got Leo Rivas, who's got a lot of power, on that small stature. Let's see if we can get something from Leo here. Single, double, ground rule double, triple, home run, just something to hopefully keep this inning going. We would love to be able to cut into this lead to 2-1 sooner than later, or tie it up 2-2. 3-2 pitch, and Rivas pops it up into center field, and that should be out number 3. Yeah, I watched all of the Huskies play the Buckeyes as well. I'm a big college football fan, so I'll watch about 4 full games on Saturday for college and 4 full games on the NFL, normally on an average NFL weekend, college football weekend. And the Huskies played good defense in the first half, but, Jeremiah Smith and obviously Sayin at quarterback, very efficient. You knew at some point or another the O-line and the D-line were going to impose their will on the Huskies, and they did, and they just couldn't keep up in the second half. And obviously when they went for that fake field goal and they botched it, that was kind of the beginning of the end for the Huskies. I still think Washington will have a very good team in the Big Ten this year, and anytime you go against the number 1 team in the country, even though you're at home, it's hard to win, and again, the Ducks have had a good record against the Buckeyes at home and on the road, but it's definitely not easy. And I was reading an article that was sent to me by Reflect saying how they're screwing over Washington, Oregon, USC, and UCLA based on the distance that we have to travel. And also the schedule is based on other teams in the Big Ten coming off a bye. And we have to play, like these teams that are rested. And it's not just Oregon, it's the other 3 teams as well. And on top of that, also, putting us in a position more to lose. Like, they don't even really want us in the Big Ten, and obviously we would rather have stayed in the Pac-12, but the commissioners were greedy with the money, but again, they're not really doing USC, Washington, Oregon, and UCLA favors. It's like almost they're pinning the schedule to make us lose, so that way their teams look better, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, but again, we are going to be able to bring some oomph to the Big Ten with Washington, Oregon, and USC. We know UCLA is garbage, but, they're more of a basketball school. But I don't like that, and again, also playing like the last game, like on a, Friday night or Saturday, and then having to be the first game in the week in the following week. Obviously the people in the Pac-12 are smart. We're not stupid. We realize what's going on over there, but hopefully the Huskies and the Ducks will continue to represent for the Pacific Northwest in the utmost way. Next up is Shohei Ohtani. First pitch in there from Miller to Ohtani, in there for a strike, 0-1 count. AR in the building, what's good? No, but you have to understand, it's not the teams, it's the commissioners. The commissioners wanted more money in the TV deal, and they got a certain amount, and then they rejected it, and then they had to move on. And obviously, so you may think that, but again, I read and I follow everything that's going on in the Pac-12 and the Big Ten, everything in college football. And again, the schedule is lining up, for those teams to have a harder path than the other teams that are in the Big Ten. So you shouldn't blame the teams there. We didn't want to go. we would rather stay. And obviously it's a money grab and it's all about money, but again, I think a lot of the schools would have rather just stayed in the Pac-12, rather than join the Big Ten. But, obviously it's greed, it's money. And obviously with the addition of the 4 teams in the Big Ten, now Big Ten is king, even over SEC. So, obviously it's not Bama, Georgia, as being the 2 dominant teams anymore in the country. Ohio State is caught up, and obviously Oregon is on the brink. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Let's go, Bryce, to find a way to get some punch outs here. 3-2 pitch. And Ohtani pops that one up into left field. Wow. Plus, honestly, if you look at the Big Ten school, a lot of those teams are shitty. I think that the matchups are better that when they were in the Pac-12, because anybody could beat anyone. Even the mid to bottom teams like Washington State or Cal or UCLA could upset one of the top dogs. But, that's not the case anymore, as Ohtani hits a nice dribbler out in a little pop-up into right field in front of Leo Rivas, and Ohtani is keeping up his swagger. Obviously here early in the top of the 3rd inning. Next up is shortstop Mookie Betts. Top of the 3rd inning, 2-0 Dodgers. Wild card series between Cubs and Padres. Obviously, if it was from a few years ago, it would probably be Padres, but I think the Cubs can do it. They're the better team. They have a better, I think roster, less injuries at this point. The Padres have had some major injuries within the last 3 weeks, to some of their key guys, like Ramon Laureano, which was a big pickup for them at the deadline. And we'll see where it goes. I mean, can the Padres win that series? Yeah, they can. They have enough talent to do it, but I think this might be the year that the Cubs can actually advance and beat somebody. 1-0 pitch. And that is popped up. And Luke Raley is there in center, and that is 1 away. Down goes Mookie Betts. Next up is first baseman Freddie Freeman. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes, 100 on the Dono train, and 5 to 15 subs. If we're going to have some of our regular feed mods being busy today in and out of the stream, we are going to need some of the regulars in the room to help out for us to be able to hit the goals here today. Where are we sitting at on the likes right now? We got 110 in the room. Hopefully we're at least at 50 at this point. And if not, we need the help from you guys in the room to get us there. 0-1 pitch. That one's fouled off behind the plate by Freddie Freeman. No balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Freeman. All right, Navis has said we're at 49. All right, so we got 51 to go to hit the goal. And we're still looking for our first dono on our dono train here on the last broadcast on Root Sports. I'm going to miss it. I won't lie. I like Root Sports. I don't like change. 0-2 pitch, and Freeman is looking, and it goes over his head, and it is gone. And just like that, another home run by Freddie Freeman. 4-0 Dodgers. Not looking good. And again, they have their A+ lineup. We have our C- lineup. So it's not really fair, player for player. We don't have Julio. We don't have Polo. We don't have Naylor. And Bryce Miller not looking good. And again, we can't win if Bryce is going to give up home runs like this. And just like that, we go from 2-0 to 4-0. Come on, Bryce. But again, you are going against, 3 Hall of Famers in a row. Shohei, Mookie, and Freddie Freeman. And Freddie capitalizes there on Bryce Miller's pitch right down the middle. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. And obviously ESPN sleeping and not taking the time to work and do their job. And hopefully they'll be able to update the scoreboard. I wish it was still 2-0, but now it is 4-0. it's hard to win if Bryce is going to be giving up home runs like that and we're not hitting home runs ourselves. I still think that we could come back, but it's realistically going to be very difficult for us to come back and win this game. We might be able to get it close within a run or possibly tie. But again, we're going to need like a grand salami or like a 3-run blast to get back into this. And throw to first, and he is safe. Oh, that's tough. Sorry that happened to you. Always a stressful moment when you lose your wallet with all your ID and cards in it, or your phone. It's like you kind of feel lost a little bit when you don't have that in your possession. So. Next up is Michael Conforto. First pitch in there for a strike. And can we get ESPN workers to stop going to the bathroom or taking breaks, when there's important things that need to be updated? Come on, my guys. And Hernandez with an infield single to the shortstop, safe. On the previous batter, Conforto fouls that one off into left field. Foul. No balls and 2 strikes from Bryce Miller to Michael Conforto. Well, the Dodgers are a really good team. I mean, they're going to the playoffs. They're 92-69. They're playing their A+ lineup. We're playing a C- lineup. But again, the C- lineup has nothing to do with Bryce giving up 2 fucking home runs and both of them being 2-run blasts. And how long before ESPN workers realize the game is 4-0, not 2-0? Golly, somebody needs to be fired over there. No, there's no cheating. They're just a great team. I mean, we're not playing the Astros. And even the Astros, you would assume, aren't cheating anymore after getting caught. So 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Conforto. And obviously ESPN is sadly not caring about this game, and they haven't even realized that the game is 4-0, not 2-0. Are they even watching the game? 2-2 pitch. High and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Conforto. Yeah, it would have been nice if we would have played everyone. I mean, we wouldn't have had Naylor in the lineup because they were trying to make sure that, if anything that has to do with his growing or his legs, everything is fresh. And obviously Wu want to make sure that pec is not sore, but again, having Polo and Julio in the lineup would have been a hell of a lot better than kind of the fill-in guys that we have. And obviously it would have been better having Cal catch the game rather than Garver. Another reason why we're down 4-0, because Garver can't call the same type of game as Cal Raleigh. So anytime you have Garver catching, it's almost a nightmare, because he's not a very good defensive catcher and he can't really hit either, but Harry Ford will take his job. And obviously in the future, next year, we probably won't have Gino, Luis Castillo, or Garver on the team. And we'll see how the contracts, end up laying out. But, very shortly, the team is going to look pretty different going into next year and the year after, based on some expiring contracts and just better players that we can play. 3-2 pitch, and Miller ends up walking Conforto. And they finally update the scoreboard. There you go. There you go, ESPN, about 10 minutes late. 4-0 Dodgers, and Bryce is not looking good here. Come on, Bryce. And he's got a mound visit with Garver. Not sure if that's really going to solve anything. And next up is center fielder Andy Pages. But I'm going to be doing the Packers and Cowboys later today. And then we'll be doing the Broncos matchup against the Bengals on Monday night. And then as we go into Tuesday Wednesday and Friday, I may end up doing, another MLB stream, just kind of fill in the gaps and whatnot. But we'll be definitely doing some NFL as we wait for the Mariners to end up playing, obviously, with the 5 days off on the weekend. Big swing and a miss. No balls and 1 strike from Miller to Pages. Oh, 1 pitch. That one is fouled back behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes from Miller to Pages. Yeah, I'll see what we'll see what is available based off the times and whatnot. Usually I'll lean probably towards the Dodgers to salute my dad, so that way, I can, get at least that in for him and whatnot. But, depending on the matchups and what's going on, we'll kind of see how that ends up playing out. So as far as like the playoff matchups and the wild card. So 1-2 pitch to Pages. Big swing and a miss, and that is 2 away. Finally, a punch out there for Bryce Miller. And next up, the hero from Game 1 and Game 2, third baseman Kike Hernandez. First pitch to Kike right down the middle. Big swing and a miss. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch. Little slow dribbler towards third. And that ends up being the force out by Gino at third base for out number 3. Yeah, I still think that we can come back. I don't know if we can win this if we keep playing like this. Obviously, the most that we can typically come back from is 5. Once we get down by more than 5 runs, usually it's over. But again, all it takes is 1 meltdown from one of their pitchers in the bullpen, and we can score 1 to 4 runs in a matter of 5 minutes. It's just, can we get that to happen? I don't know. Obviously the Dodgers are locked in. They're playing their A+ lineup. They're trying to sweep us. And obviously we're resting guys and have a lot of like replacement guys in, backup players that are in the lineup. But with that being said, the backup players that are playing 1 through 9 aren't affecting how Bryce is pitching. And Bryce giving up two-run jacks is not ideal. We could be at a 0-0 score right now if Bryce did his job. But again, Bryce giving up the 2 jacks already is not ideal for us. I mean, giving up 1 stings, but giving up 2 and both of them being 2-run jacks, not ideal. Kim with a 2-run jack with Conforto on board, Freeman with a 2-run jack with Ohtani on board. And again, all we got to do is just get to 1. And once we get to 1, like let's say we get a solo dinger, another one will happen, shortly after, typically based on Seattle this year. So, we'll see how it goes. But the faster that we can get to 1 or 2 and hopefully keep them at 4, for a few innings, at least I hope that we can at least rally slightly in this game. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. And especially going 17-1 in 18 games and then potentially losing 3 in a row. I mean, this is a great team, but I almost feel like since we had, quote unquote, nothing to play for, that hurt us. If we had something to play for, like to be able to get the number 1 seed or something that was like meaningful, then maybe the lineups would have been better and the production would have been better. But obviously it feels like some of the guys are focused and then others, maybe, thinking about the postseason already. So you got to get everyone on the same page. First pitch from Kershaw to Young. Takes a strike looking, 0-1 count. Let's go, Cole. Make the most of this opportunity here. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Cole Young. Bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Dodgers with Clayton Kershaw, the first ballot Hall of Famer, making his last regular season start in baseball. And a little slow dribbler throw to first, and that is 1 away. Next up is first baseman fill-in Miles Mastrobuoni that got called up from AAA this morning. And let's see if Miles can help us rally. I mean, he has helped us in the past when he was on the roster, and he was actually one of our best bench players, on the team this year. See what we can get out of Miles. 60 likes, 40 to go. Appreciate you, Bricks. Let's get it, baby. 1-0 pitch. And that's a line drive towards third base, foul. We're still looking for our first dono on the dono train. Bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Dodgers. Clayton Kershaw on the mound, Miles Mastrobuoni in the box. 1-1 pitch, high and away. Paints the corner and gets the call. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Miles Mastrobuoni. But again, Cal Raleigh still has a chance to be able to make some history and tie Aaron Judge. Gino is at 49 home runs, 1 away from 50. And obviously, you got the last game on Root Sports. And again, I'm going to miss, watching games on Root, and I just hope MLB, will, if, they do Mariners TV or if they have some special name for it, hopefully it ends up being similar to Root Sports, if not better. 2-2 pitch. And Mastrobuoni crushes that into left field. And Conforto tries to catch that as a Dodger fan there in the front row. In the outfield, ends up getting that ball. Great souvenir there for him. And he didn't even try to catch the ball. There was a fan that was reaching over with a glove that was trying to get in the way of Conforto, a Mariner fan, and it ended up in the lap of a Dodger fan. So good for him. And Mastrobuoni with a nice hit into left field. There we go. There we go. Chris with a 5er. Mastrobuoni getting in there for a double. There we go. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We are at 5 on the dono train. And just as soon as Chris donates, what happens? Mastrobuoni gets a double. Coincidence? I think not. Appreciate you. 95 to go, and a great job by Miles Mastrobuoni. We give him the praise. He was a really good backup player, and he comes in and does his job. A great job, Miles. Next up is Randy Arozarena. Let's see if Randy can do his job. He had a pretty good day yesterday, getting 3 hits, even though his defense is unwatchable in left field most of the time. We'll see what we can get here. Mariners TV, I don't think it's going to be a cable channel. It's going to be through like an app, where it's going to be like Mariners TV through MLB network or MLB app, and then you'll go on there and maybe it'll be a separate app just called Mariners TV and whatnot. But I'm pretty sure, it's not going to be on necessarily TV. It'll be like an app that you'll have to open up and watch on your phone, project it onto the TV, and then watch it on your computer. Now could it end up being a channel? Yeah, it could be, but the details are still a little blurry at this point, on how that's all going to work. So, I mean, hopefully it ends up being on a cable channel and you have access to an app as well. But we will have to wait and see how that all works out. But MLB is taking over, the Mariners TV. So we'll see how they end up doing it. And they've done this for about 6 or 7 other teams already. But I don't really know how that works out for those 6 or 7 teams because I haven't asked anybody, that has it, if they like it or not compared to what they had before. So. Pitch fouled off by Randy. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kershaw to Arozarena. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. Yeah, it could potentially mean more Mariner games on national TV for sure. But also, you got Apple TV Plus, ESPN. But if they're going to have their own channel, obviously it's going to be probably something similar to Root Sports, whether it be on cable or not. It just depends on if it's an app with cable or just an app, that you download and then you watch games that way. So either through MLB.com or through the Mariners specifically on their own. So we'll find out. Bottom of the third inning, 4-0 Dodgers. Mastrobuoni with a double to get us going. 2-2 pitch here to Randy incoming. Pitch is outside. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. And hopefully Randy can do something beneficial here. Single, double, triple, or a home run. We would love to get the game to be 4-2 right now with Cal on deck. 3-2 pitch. Randy chops that one towards third base foul. Again, also the Mariners being better will give them more national televised games, through ESPN or, Fox, Apple TV Plus. Every year moving forward, as we make the playoffs, there's going to be more of a demand to watch the Mariners, on a global level, a national level, but for us guys that live in Oregon and Washington, we want our reliability like Root Sports as Randy dribbles it to first and he jogs to first as usual, no effort. And we get Mastrobuoni to tag up and go to third. Let's see if now Cal Raleigh can hit home run number 61 and we can cut this lead to 4-2. And if he does that, we're going to have a chance to come back. Let's go, Big Dumper. See if we can get to 61 home runs right here. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Let's go, Cal. And I got the Cal City Connect jersey on today for good luck. Come on, Cal. $95 to go. Appreciate you. First pitch high and away. Big swing and a miss by the Big Dumper. 0-1 count. And if we can continuously get updates on the likes every 5 to 10 minutes, whether it would be from Bricks, Cody, or someone else, it would be greatly appreciated. I know all day you're kind of in and out of the streams. But if we can get to 100 before the stream ends, that would be great, based on how many people we have in the room. And obviously, if we didn't have a game on NFL Sunday, we would have more people. But obviously, there's a lot of people focused on the NFL, and I understand. I mean, I'm a big NFL fan myself, so I get it. 1-1 pitch. Low and at the knees to the Big Dumper. Appreciate you, Bricks. 2 balls and 1 strike to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And again, with 111 in the room, shooting for 100 is appropriate. Obviously, if we get caught up and we tie this game late, there'll be a boost in viewership, or we'll have 200-300 people in the room if we end up tying it up 4-4. But we got to try to do something here early for that to happen. But if it stays around 100 to 130 people, just getting to 100 would be perfect. And then we'll see if we can gain a few subs along the way as well. 73 subs to go when the stream started. And we gained a couple, and now we need 71. We've gained 2 so far. Let's see if we can gain 3 more. 71 subs to go to 22,400. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Good for Dart. They should have started him at the beginning of the year, but when you got a guy like Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston on the team also, they're always going to go with the vet for the first, 2 to 4 games, wait for him to fuck up, and then go to the rookie. But obviously Dart with Scattaboo would have been a good 1-2 combo to start the year off, but they were afraid. So they decided to go with Russ, and obviously moving forward, Dart and Scattaboo will be a fun, 1-2 combo to watch. And I don't know if we've actually said fun to watch for the Giants in quite some time. They still got a lot of pieces to go. But again, when Malik Neighbors is playing with Scattaboo and Dart, that's kind of a cool trio. Now they need offensive line and defensive help. No doubt about that. They got Thibodeau over there and a few others, but they got a long ways to go from being good, but at least they made the right decision. And if you can beat the Chargers, that's the team that's most likely going to win the AFC West over the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chiefs this year. But again, if they lose, that's a big devastating loss to Justin Herbert and the Chargers, and a huge win for Dart if they pull it off based on what Marine Bean is updating. And if we can get any other updates on any MLB scores or NFL scores, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything that seems relevant to talk about on the NFL or the MLB side, feel free. I would love to be able to just look in the chat rather than having to, research it on my own, while I'm calling this game. Bottom of the third, runners at first and third, 0-2 pitch, check swing by Gino, and that is strike three, and that is the problem. Come on, Gino. And again, for any time that you want Gino to make a big play, he just strikes out too much, and that's why Naylor is more valuable than Gino. Like, Gino might be able to hit you, 40 to 50 home runs, but how many strikeouts is he giving you? How many plays is he giving up at third? And again, it's like, we love Gino and the good vibes only, but there is no reason to sign him next year, when Naylor is there. Naylor is going to be a more valuable piece, offense, defense, swiping bags, more consistent, and a guy that actually can hit over 300 at T-Mobile, which we've never had a player that we've gotten on the deadline or in free agency that's really batted 350 or higher, and again, we haven't really had a good first baseman since Ty France, and he's better than Ty. There's no doubt about that. So hopefully Naylor will be healthy and we can go on a run, obviously, moving forward. Next up in the top of the fourth inning, second baseman with the 2-run jack that got him on the board, Hae-Sung Kim. Batting second in the 9-hole, 0-for-1, catcher Ben Rortvedt. And batting third, 2-for-2 with a run, it's Showtime, Shohei Ohtani. Trident's up, let's go M's. Well, we're not with that attitude. We got to just chip away. I mean, obviously, when any team is down 4-0, it looks terrible, And again, we don't really know what we're going to be getting after Bryce Miller. I mean, we could be bringing in guys that are even worse than him. But, again, what Bryce Miller does not affect necessarily the guys that are batting 1 through 9. They have to do their job. And right now, Bryce is not doing his job, and nobody is really doing their job. As far as the Mariner hitters are concerned, I mean, we got 2 hits. So I guess 2 guys are doing the job so far, with JP Crawford and Miles Mastrobuoni. But what about the others? They need to step up. But it also shows you, with no Julio, no Polo, and especially no Naylor, it's hard to win, when you don't have your better players playing. And again, an A+ lineup, a normal, strong lineup for the Dodgers, including Kershaw, and then having Bryce Miller, our 4 or our 5 in the rotation, and having a C- lineup. I mean, not ideal. It would have been much better to have Julio and Polo play if we weren't going to get Naylor, but it is what it is. And a little slow dribbler there, throw to first. I mean, obviously, Cal hitting home runs and Gino trying to get to 50. That's what we can look forward to. And then hopefully we can kind of cut into this lead while we root for those home runs to happen for Cal and Gino. And Kim dribbles out, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Next up, catcher in the 9-hole, Ben Rortvedt. First pitch, high and inside, 1-0 count. And ESPN is so far behind. They're still on the Kim at-bat. Takes them 10 minutes to update the scoreboard. Come on, ESPN. I know you guys are overworked and you got a lot of people doing NFL, but do your damn job. Come on now. I mean, I always have to look at stat pages because I watch the game, but usually I'll have like ESPN up for the stat pages and the location, of the pitches, extra info, as well as MLB.com. But obviously, the priority is more football today for ESPN, you can tell. Come on, Bryce, finish strong. You've already given up 2 home runs. Big swing and a miss on Rortvedt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. from Miller to Rortvedt. Top of the fourth inning, 4-0 Dodgers. And again, with one swing, if we can get a couple guys on and get it to 4-2 or 4-3, again, we're right back in it. We just got to be able to get off this goose egg. And Cole Young is there, throw to first. And that is 2 away. Nice job from Young to Mastroboni. And next up, leading off, 2 for 2, DHing Shohei Ohtani. And this will be the last inning for Bryce. And that probably is a good thing, especially since he's already given up 2 home runs. You better not give up 1 to Ohtani here. We don't want to be down 5-0. And again, 5 is kind of the maximum amount of runs that we've been able to come back from in 2025. I know it looks terrible when we're down 4-0, but again, it just takes one guy to have a meltdown for us to go on a rally. RBIs, home runs, a couple guys getting walked, then we steal a couple bags, and things start falling into place. But obviously, within these first 4 innings, it has not been good. 0-1 pitch, big swing and a miss by Ohtani. He was trying to go for the moon there. No balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. All right, Brick says we're at 72, 28 to hit the goal. You're on it, my guy. Appreciate you. And the Giants beat the Chargers. Wow, huge win for Jackson Dart. Bad loss for the Chargers, especially if you're trying to be the top dog. And obviously Chiefs, Broncos, and Raider fans are smiling. And Shohei, big swing and a miss. And at least Miller can say he struck out Shohei Ohtani in his career. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and let's stop fucking around, and let's get on the board. And Neighbors tore his ACL. His year is over. That's tough, especially when they just got Dart, at the starting, spot and whatnot. Him, Scatterbu, and Neighbors would be a nice trio. Orioles and Yankees tied up at 2 in the bottom of the 4th. Blue Jays up 5-4 on the Rays in the end of the 3rd. Rangers and Guardians going at it. 4-3 lead for Texas. Tigers and Red Sox knotted up at 3. Wow, it's just getting crazy. And then the Reds 2-1 up on the Brewers. And it looks like the Eagles are up 31-23 on my Bucks. At least they fought back. I mean, they were sitting at 6 forever, and we're down by 8, but the Eagles have the ball. So I already knew that was going to be a tough one. And we got Niners 3, Jacksonville 0. Let's take a look at some of the NFL scores as we are on a commercial break. Eagles looking like they're about to beat my Bucks. Colts and Rams just started 0-0. Niners up 3-0 on the Jags. Ravens and Chiefs coming up in about 8 minutes. The loser goes to 1-3. Who would have thought that? Bears and Raiders coming up. Packers and Cowboys on Sunday night. I'll stream that. And final score, Giants 21, Chargers 18. The biggest Giant win in maybe a couple years. Steelers winning in Dublin, 24-21 over the Vikings. Falcons rebounding after losing 30-0 to the Panthers, winning 34-27 over the Commanders. Bills beating the Saints 31-19. Lions beating the brakes off of the Browns 34-10. And the Pats scoring 42 on the Panthers after the Panthers scored 30-0 against the Falcons the previous week. And the Texans finally get their first win of the season, beating the Titans 26-0. And then the Seahawks getting the win on Thursday night, 23-20 over the Cardinals. Doubleheader on Monday, Jets, Dolphins. No one's watching that. And then Bengals, Broncos, the second game. I will be doing that on Monday night. So looking forward to those 2 NFL streams later today and tomorrow. And again, you couldn't have picked a worst Monday Night Football game. Imagine if it was only Jets, Dolphins as the only game. God, that's like pulling teeth. First pitch in there to Mitch Garver, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Mitch Garver. And if there was ever a moment that we needed Mitch Garver to do fucking something and hit a home run like this photo, it's fucking right now. 1-1 pitch, and he gets a single. There we go. It might not be a home run, but at least he listened. There we go. Nice job, Mitch. A guy that we normally don't have a whole lot of faith in behind the plate or in the box, but nice single. Next up is Luke Raley. Now, this is time that we need a nuke from Luke. He's overdue. He's had a terrible year. You know, he's only got 4 home runs. He's been injured on and off. He hasn't had enough playing time to get into a rhythm. And his defense is sometimes a liability also. But with his bat, with one good swing, he could make this a 4-2 game, and then we would be right back in it. Let's go, Luke. Yeah, I mean, any Giant fan would be proud to beat a number 1 seed in the AFC West, because obviously the Chiefs are getting a little bit older and banged up, you know, and they still may come back and win the division, but, you know, it doesn't really feel like, you know, you're going to get the Chiefs in the, you know, Super Bowl again this year, maybe not even in the AFC Championship game. And again, the Ravens have bad coaching. You know, you got Lamar, you got Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, but your coaching in games is what's costing them wins. And again, even though the Ravens are always talked about, you can't really count on them when it matters the most. Kind of like the Niners, you know, when they end up making the Super Bowl or they go, you know, deep in a game, they can do great for the first 3 quarters. But then in the 4th quarter, Kyle Shanahan just nuts up and just fucking fails over and over, you know, and hopefully that'll change for the Niners, you know, and Kyle Shanahan in the future and the Ravens with Harbaugh. But, you know, it just seems like it keeps on repeating itself. You know, where you can be a good coach, you know, and Shanahan and Harbaugh, but when it comes to the clutch moments, they're just not made for it for whatever reason. 2-2 pitch from Kershaw to Rayleigh. And that is strike 3 looking. TJ in the building. What's good, brother? And down goes Rayleigh. You know, it would have been better to have Ben Williamson get the call up in this last game, but it is what it is. Next up is JP Crawford. Come on, JP. We need some of that electricity. Can we get a JP Crawford 2-run jack? The Mariner Moose and the Mariner fans, we need it. Come on, baby. This is the last televised game on Root Sports. We want to go out a winner. And if we're not going to win, let's at least get it close. You know, where if we lose the game, we lose by 1 run, not fucking 4. Come on, M's. I want to see some home runs. I want to see some RBIs. I want to see some bunts, some stolen bags. And hopefully whoever comes in for Bryce Miller doesn't have a worse outing than him. Pitch in there for a strike. No balls and 2 strikes to JP Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. I mean, let's play hard. You know, I know they got an A+ lineup and Kershaw, and we have our C- lineup with no Julio, Polo, and Naylor. But again, we got to find a way. And I want to see Cal hit a home run, and I want to see Gino hit a home run so Gino can get to 50. I mean, obviously, I want Cal to hit 2, you know, but he's kind of running out of time now to tie Judge. But if he can at least get 1 more, you know, to get to 61, that would be pretty badass. And JP with a slow dribbler, double play, and no throw to first. Next up, right fielder Leo Rivas, playing that position for the first time today, and so far he's actually done a pretty good job. Merchandise on sale, all of that stuff is selling out quick, including the tickets. I mean, the cheapest ticket for a Mariner playoff game is like $400. It's a lot of money, you know? And I feel kind of bad because a lot of the rich people that may not even care about the Mariners, that just want to flex in front of their girlfriend or their wives or their friends, are going to the games and took a lot of the tickets that the regular OG hardcore fans would have loved to gone to, you know? But again, $400, you know, for a cheap ticket, standing room. And then if you want a good ticket, you're looking at $500 to $800. That's a lot for just 1 seat. And Rivas flies out into left field, and that is out number 3. $20 more to 100. Let's get it, baby. Yeah, me and my best friend, you know, he usually gets like a mini package of like 5 games and then gets like, you know, first dibs on like playoff tickets and things of that nature. And he had 2 screens up at like 9 a.m. Before they were open to the public, and everything sold out like literally instantly. And you know, within like 30 seconds to a minute, like gone, the whole thing. And then there was another release at noon that day for the general public. And he opened up 2 screens at his computer with fast internet and tried to be able to get tickets then. Couldn't get tickets then either. So even if you had a gig internet and you had 2 screens up and you were working at the same time, you still couldn't, get a ticket. So shows you how fast those tickets were going for. And then obviously the scalpers, are going to up the pricing, for some of those games. But for anyone that gets a chance to go, like TJ, I'm happy that you were able to get a ticket that was still expensive, but reasonable, especially for a playoff game. 200 is reasonable. When it gets up to 350 and up, then it's, you got to have money saved up to go unless you're rich. So yeah, you weren't even able to look at the seat. It's just like click and then hopefully put in the information and hopefully the credit card or debit card info, and hopefully you can enter in that faster than anyone else and whatnot. So I imagine a lot of the people already had the screen up with the information already there, and all they had to do was hit enter. And then the people that had to type in their info were the people that were late. So again, I imagine that's how it probably went down. So all they had to do was hit enter and then boom, they got their card to go through. But the people that were typing in, their name, first and last, card number, expiration date, by the time that shit happened, you were already out of luck. So let's go to the top of the 5th inning, and we got Caleb Ferguson entering the matchup. Hopefully he won't have a fucking meltdown. All right, Caleb Ferguson on the mound, Mookie Betts in the box. And even though, this team has got 3 future first ballot Hall of Famers and Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, and Freddie Freeman, they really haven't been the reason why we've lost the first 2 games. The reason why we lost, besides Randy Arosarena's shitty defense and left, is Kike Hernandez. That was really the main reason why we lost game 1 and game 2. So it shows you the Dodgers are deep, where you never know, where it could end up being one of the other guys that could end up helping them win. And it's like they don't even have access to Will Smith at catcher. Imagine if they had him on top of that. But again, this Dodger team is a little beat up, but we'll see how they do, in the playoff run. 2-0 pitch. Mookie pops it up. And Rayleigh is there in center field filling in for Julio, and that is 1 away. Awesome, man. Next up is Freddie Freeman. Yeah, and, if the Mariners were to win the World Series, I live in Oregon, about 3.5 hours away. Me and my best friend would go. There's no doubt about that. He would take work off and we would go up there to the parade. There's no doubt about that. So, and again, we don't know what is an entail for us this year, but again, it just feels like in the next 10 to 20 years, we're going to have a really good shot, at going deep in the playoffs and possibly be in a World Series or 2 or 3, before the run is over for the Mariners in the next 10 to 20 years. So that's definitely exciting. And hopefully we can, go as deep as possible this year. ALDS, ALCS, and then World Series. Two balls and 1 strike from Ferguson to Rushing. And Rushing filling in for Rortbed, I assume. Or is he filling in for Freddie Freeman? Looks like he might be filling in for Freeman. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. ESPN is so far behind, they don't even have the pitcher name or the batter name. It says batter data unavailable. Oh my God, someone's getting fired at ESPN. And down he goes. Down goes Rushing, and that is 2 away. And now they're finally filling it in like they're watching the broadcast here. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. So Freddie Freeman's day is done, so we won't have to worry about him doing anything. Pitch fouled off by Teoscar. 0-1 count. Sixth base with a 20. Right. Yeah, it's not good, and again, it would have been better to at least have our main guys play to give us a better shot. Stacks, racks with a little cactus jack, and we have 5 days off, which would be better if we were actually playing right away, just like the college football playoff, where the teams had like 3 weeks to a month off, everyone lost, and the teams that played every week, like Ohio State, they ended up winning it all. So sometimes having that chemistry and continuity and just, being in that routine of playing games, almost every day, obviously could come back to hurt the Mariners. But hopefully we'll be able to find a way. Wu will be ready. Naylor will be ready. And, we'll get the job done. Popped up by Teoscar Hernandez into right field. Leo Rivas is there, and that is out number 3. And I'm kind of surprised that they're having Kershaw. It's like they're trying to sweep us. Like Kershaw in normal situations, he would have already been out in the second and maximum 4th inning. But they're really trying to give us the boot. They're like, who knows? Especially if Kershaw ends up going 6-7 innings on top of this great lineup. I mean, they're really playing with us with no mercy. But it is what it is. But I do appreciate Sixth Base and your support to the channel. Another 20 to the Dono train. Appreciate you. Yeah, I do. Let's do an update on the pitchers here real quick. All right, so for Clayton Kershaw, 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, only 1 walk, 4 Ks, 72 pitches, 48 strikes. So if it's, the Dodgers just trying to, eliminate us, fatality, fucking, Mortal Kombat style, I mean, he could still go for a couple more innings. And then Bryce Miller, obviously his day is done. 4 innings pitched, 5 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 2-run jacks given up, 2 walks, only 2 Ks, 70 pitches, and 49 strikes for him. So obviously if Bryce was better, we would be sitting at maybe 1-0 or 0-0 right now. And he definitely put us into a jam that's going to be hard to come back from, especially with our backups in there. But, at least Caleb Ferguson didn't add on to that lead, and it's still 4-0. So good job, Caleb. Next up for the Mariners, second baseman Cole Young, batting second, first baseman Miles Mastroboni, and batting third, left fielder Randy Arosarena. And again, for us to be able to come back, we're going to need Randy, Cal, Gino, or JP to do something spectacular, like hit a home run. And then we're going to need Garver, Rayleigh, Rivas, Young, and Mastroboni to do their job the best to their abilities, with singles and doubles. And then if we can get a crazy home run from Garver, Rayleigh, Rivas, Young, or Mastroboni, that would be just the cherry on top, because you don't really expect any of those guys to homer. So Hybrid in the building. What's good? Yeah, big win, and if Dante Moore keeps playing like that, he could be the first pick in the draft, but I don't know if I want him going to the Saints or some shit team, but I guess that's better than going to the Browns, as Cole Young gets a nice hit on Clayton Kershaw. There you go, Cole. But a big win. And again, we have another big matchup against the Huskies in Seattle for the last regular season game. But again, the Ducks could go undefeated, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't win at all. So obviously we know the Buckeyes are great. The Ducks are competitors. You got Penn State and a few of these other teams that are still legit. But again, it seems like this team is better than last year's. And we definitely like what we have out of Dante Moore over Dylan Gabriel, who was kind of like a poor man's Tim Tebow minus the running. Again, if we had more of a Michael Penix Jr. type of quarterback on the Ducks last year, maybe we would have been able to go a little bit further, but we didn't have any explosive players like Decorian Moore on the roster last year. And then, when you have a Jeremiah Smith, that definitely will help a team win. And obviously the Buckeyes have been, kind of relying on him to win games, and he's come up in the clutch many, many times. First pitch to Mastroboni. Coming in here, 1-1 count from Kershaw to Mastroboni. ESPN and MLB.com can update. Curveball in there. 1 ball and 2 strikes, 2 miles Mastroboni. First pitch was low and away with a 4-seam fastball. Second pitch, high and inside with that 4-seam fastball by Kershaw. 1-2 pitch. And a slow dribbler to first. Double play. Throw back to first. And safe at first, thank God. That was a bad loss. I mean, Alabama is not a good team anymore. They don't have Nick Saban. They don't have the same type of vibe. That was a terrible, terrible loss, for Georgia, especially if you want to be like one of the top dogs. And obviously Penn State losing to Oregon, it could have went either way. It had to go to fucking double overtime. And obviously, we're happy that we have Dan Lanning. We think he's a top 3 coach in college football. And I think he's proven that. He's got the best record since 2023, 20 wins and like 3 losses. So, 2 losses to the Huskies, and obviously that loss to the Buckeyes hurt, but it is what it is, but we feel like we're going in the right direction. But yeah, I think that was a very bad loss. But also, if you watch Georgia go against Tennessee, a few weeks ago, I watched that full game. Tennessee should have beat them, but they found a way to kind of fight back late, and stolen bag safe. There we go. But again, it's like Georgia is still a good football team. But if anyone watched Georgia, Tennessee a couple weeks ago, I watched that whole game. If the kicker would have made that field goal in regulation, game over, but he choked. And then it went to OT. And if you go to overtime with Georgia and Kirby Smart, you're going to lose more times than not. So we'll see where it goes. I think with DeBoer, he benefited with Michael Penix Jr. and all of the players that they had. If you look at all the amazing talent that they had with Rome Odunze and Jalen McMillan, good running game, good O-line, good defense. And he solely got the Bama job based on that performance of Michael Penix Jr. and that Husky team. But I don't think he's the right fit at Bama. It's a big win for him against Georgia, but I think that they need to get somebody better. He's not a very good recruiter either. And I think what you got with the Huskies now is better than if DeBoer would have stayed. So not saying that DeBoer is a bad coach, but I just think that if you're trying to be like Nick Saban, you're going to need someone on that more of Nick Saban level. So, which is hard to do. Let's be real. 3-1 pitch, and Randy fouls that one off. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arosarena. 4-0 Dodgers, and we just need to get on the board. Yeah, I was never really big on the, the whole Etsy witch thing. I guess if some Mariner fans, want to run with that and whatnot, it's, big swing and a miss by Randy, and he gets punched out by Kershaw 2 away. But again, everyone's going to have their little, quirks on why we're winning and whatnot. And, I never really was a, firm supporter of this Etsy witch thing that's going on. It's just something that kind of popped up one day and people kind of grasped and hung on to it. But really, it just comes down to, playing good baseball. And then if anything else comes up, I guess that's something that they want to attach it to. Next up is Big Dumper Cal Raleigh. And hopefully we can get Cal, the homer here, to get the score reduced from 4-0 to 4-2. And more importantly, home run number 61. Let's go, Big Dumper. I mean, really what it comes down to is the ownership and the management making the move for Randy last year, making the move to get 2 of the top 4 guys in Gino and Naylor at the deadline this year, and then just playing great ball, and having that great chemistry, and, getting on a nice rally. And down goes Cal, and it looks a little bit out of rhythm there, and Kershaw gets out of the inning unscathed, and we're going to go to the top of the 6th inning with a Dodger 4-0 lead. I think also, too, a lot of the people that are like super into the Etsy witch thing, are people that are super superstitious. And again, I have some superstitions of myself, like, the thumbnails haven't had a picture, on them for a reason, because every time I started putting pictures on there, we were getting our ass kicked. Yes, it was also because we were on the road, but I felt that if I started going with like, Cal and Julio and Naylor and Gino, instead of going with like Kirby and Gilbert and, Wu and Miller and Castillo, that maybe things would turn around and then we started winning. Now, did we start winning because I stopped putting pictures on the thumbnails? Of course not. We started playing at home and we weren't on the road and we weren't hitting fucking rain delays, like we were in Baltimore in back-to-back days and in that fucking Little League Classic against the Mets that was, in New York and whatnot. So, there was a little bit of, road woes, bad luck, rain delays that weren't ideal for us. But, anyone has the right to believe in whatever they want. But, it's because we were a good team, not because the Etsy witch. But again, if people want to go with the Etsy witch is the reason, then they can think that. But, it was because of our team and the way that we have assembled this team. And we have come together as one of the closest teams in MLB. Like if you look at how the players react and interact with each other, we have one of the tightest groups out of all 30 teams in baseball, and it shows. Let's go to the top of the sixth and see who's up next here for the Dodgers. Next up for the Dodgers, 0 for 0 with a run and 2 base on balls, left fielder Michael Conforto. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, center fielder Andy Pages. And batting third, 0 for 2, the hero in Game 1 and Game 2, Kike Hernandez. I almost feel like Kike is doing it on purpose, since I was mentioning I got my first MLB souvenir from him, back in 2019 when I went to a game with my dad, versus the Dodgers. But the creepiest part of it all is that I predicted 10 years before that if I were to get a foul ball and I had to slide past like a grandma and grandpa to get it, because obviously there's a lot of kids that are in the area, and then lo and behold, when we go to the game, who do we sit next to? A grandma and grandpa that I slide past to get the ball. I don't know if we're living in a different timeline or a different universe, but what I said happened 10 years later, and I've gotten 3 balls in 10 games. So I got, a pretty good eye for, getting memorabilia and souvenirs, but even that kind of creeps me out. 3-0 pitch. And that's right down the middle for a strike from Caleb Ferguson. 3 balls and 1 strike to Michael Conforto. Yeah, we got the deepest roster in the American League. And even comparing us to the National League, like teams like the Brewers and the Phillies and the Dodgers, we're right there with them. So, again, we'll see what happens. You got the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and the Mariners probably as the front runners in the American League. And then you got the Brewers, the Phillies and the Dodgers, Cubs as the front runner in the National League. And we'll see where it goes. 3-2 pitch. Little slow dribbler behind the plate, foul. Count still remains 3 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Conforto. Three-two pitch. Broken bat. Slow dribbler. Get that. And a nice little flip to first. There we go. And that is 1 away. Crazy that Caleb Ferguson is doing better than Bryce Miller, but that's the world that we live in. But again, I don't have a whole lot of faith with Castillo and Miller. I have faith in Wu and Kirby, and even Gilbert sometimes has been shaky this year. But again, I think I trust Gilbert more than I do Castillo and Miller. And, some games are going to be great for those guys. Others are going to be shaky, but, hopefully Wu will be great with the pack. Naylor will be ready and rearing and ready to go, once we go into the postseason. And, I know we're going to make the most out of these 5 days off and keep busy. And hopefully we bring our A game, obviously, on that first matchup in the playoffs for the Mariners. First pitch, big swing and a miss by Pages, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch fouled off towards right field. showing Pete Crow Armstrong versus Julio through June 19th, but we know Julio is a better second half player than most of the guys in the big leagues, and definitely has turned it on at the right time where we needed him the most. 0-2 pitch to Pages. Big swing and a miss. A nice job by Caleb Ferguson, giving us a little bit of life here. 2 away. Next up is Kike Hernandez. First pitch is low and at the knees, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch, right down the middle for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike to Kike Hernandez. Slow dribbler towards third base, foul by Kike Hernandez. 1 ball and 2 strikes here in the top of the 6th with nobody on and 2 outs. 4-0 Dodger lead. And obviously Bryce Miller giving up two run jacks to put us in this position, but the offense hasn't done anything either. So, obviously we need the bats to come alive at some point. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. And Caleb Ferguson looking great here for us. Maybe we should have started Caleb over fucking Bryce Miller. Nice job by Caleb there. And normally Caleb is not trustworthy either, but as far as today, playing pretty good. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th inning and let's get on the fucking board already. Next up, 0 for 2 with a K. He's at 49 home runs. You're running out of time. Good vibes only. Hit a home run now to get to 50 so we can be down by 3, not 4. Eugenio Suarez. Batting second, catcher. 1 for 2 with a K. Nice little single for Mitch Garver. And batting third, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks. Seems like a regular story for center fielder today, filling in for Julio, Luke Raley. So, if we can get Gino to hit a solo dinger, Garver to get walked, and then Luke Raley to hit a 2-run jack, then we'll be at 4-3. But again, can we get that to happen? Gino probably getting to 50 is probably more likely than Luke Raley hitting a home run. But if there was ever a guy that is due for a home run that's got the power to do it, it's Luke Raley. But it's just timing has just been so fucking off all year. But this would be a great time to at least make the game interesting. So that way it's 4-3, and then we have a chance to potentially win late. But again, we're going to need something here. University in the building. What's good? Oh, man. That's tough. There's Field of Dreams. Sandlot is always a good one, Rookie of the Year. It kind of depends on how old you are, I feel, and depending on how old you are may determine what sport movies you like the most based on baseball, basketball, football. And there's been some great ones, hockey, even. All the sports have great movies, but I think for me, I don't think it maybe necessarily it's the best, but what's my personal favorite? I probably would go with The Sandlot, because it reminds me of my childhood and, playing with the, kids in the neighborhood and, kind of having memories like that, so I would probably say that's my favorite. Is it the best? That's debatable. There's a lot of great baseball movies over the years, but I think that one is my personal. Yeah, I'm 43, so I think we're around the same age. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss by Gino. I'm an 80s baby. I got a lot of love for the 80s and 90s. It's definitely my favorite era. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Eugenio Suarez. Kershaw on the mound. Gino in the box, sitting at 49 home runs. He needs 1 more to get to 50. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees. Count now is full. Good eye by Gino. 3 balls and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. We're running out of time. We got 4 innings to go. to try to get to 4. And again, we got to hit a home run. Like, again, when we don't hit home runs, we don't win. But on top of that, it's like, having a C- lineup going against an A+ lineup, not ideal. And a big swing and a miss by Gino. And he got baited by Kershaw. And again, Kershaw with that curve and slider, he'll hit you with the 4-seam and the 4-seam. And then he starts hitting you with the slider and the curve. And then it's just game over. And again, for a guy that's old, 10-2 in his last, year in the big leagues, 3.52 ERA, and it looks like he is done. And this is going to be his last regular season start, as Freddie Freeman gives him a hug and the rest of the teammates give him a hug here as well. And this will be the last time Mariner fans will be able to see Clayton Kershaw ever again, unless we end up facing each other in the World Series. My dad's been a Dodger fan, since the 50s, lived in Hawaii, lived in LA, and obviously lives in Oregon here with me now. And again, he loved Sandy Koufax. That was his favorite player. And then, when, Clayton Kershaw came to the scene, it was the closest thing to Sandy Koufax my dad has ever seen, and definitely fell in love with Kershaw. And he's had a fantastic career. Just wish that he didn't pitch so well against the Mariners here. And hopefully we can get a meltdown by whoever comes in and we can get caught up in this game. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And good classy crowd by the Mariners standing up, giving a standing ovation with the Dodger fans. Imagine if this game was in San Francisco, the Giant fans would not, salute him one bit. Obviously that rivalry is too heated. But for him to have his last regular season start in Seattle, we have classy fans that are intelligent and passionate. We have some of the best fans on planet Earth. And again, they did the right thing by, standing up and giving him that ovation, even though we're losing 4-0. All right, now we're done giving Clayton Kershaw his kudos and his flowers. And now it's time to fucking come back. I still want to win this game. I don't care, Cam homer to right center, 409 feet with Conforto on board. Bryce Miller gives up the 2-run jack. Holy hell, right? And then an inning later, Freeman homers to left center with Ohtani on board, 382, 4-0. Now, if it was 2-0, I think we would have a very good chance of coming back and winning, like 90%. But now we're down 4. It's probably like 10%. So, again, we need to be able to get to 1 or 2 runs by the And I don't know how we're going to do it, but hopefully we find a way. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes. 100 on the dono train. And we're trying to gain 5 to 15 subs. Let's see how many more we've acquired. And we have 71 subs to go to 22,400. Let's go. And Garver is out on that pop-up into left. And that is 2 away. We got Knack in the game for the Dodgers. And Luke Raley in the box. Landon Knack enters the matchup. Big swing and a miss by Raley, which is kind of a reoccurring theme. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Come on, Luke, wake up. Where's the Luke Raley from last year and the year before? A guy that could occasionally hit a double-decker home run. He's only got 4 this year. I know he's been injured on and off, and he's had limited action, and his timing has been off, and he's a liability on defense. It's like, at some point, a blind squirrel's got to get a nut at some point, right? Pitch is low and into the dirt. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Knack to Raleigh. 0-2 pitch. Turns into a 2-2 pitch, and that is strike 3. Godly. Luke Raley, you're terrible. Would have been much better to be able to have Ben Williamson, on the team at this point than him. Based on how he played this year, he definitely deserved it. A nice job by Landon Knack coming in and shutting the Mariners' hopes down in that particular inning. And hopefully we can get a meltdown by either him or someone else before this game is up. I don't want to lose 4-0 in the last broadcast on Root Sports, let alone 5-0, 6-0, 7-0. Come on now. Let's go to the top of the 7th inning. Next up for the Dodgers, second baseman with a 2-run jack, Tae-Sung Kim. Batting second, 0 for 2, catcher Ben Rortvedt. And batting third, 2 for 3 with a run in a K, DHing Shohei Ohtani. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Guardians in the playoffs. $11 more likes to get to the goal. Let's make sure we get there. If we have a limited audience because of the NFL games, let's see if we can maximize every option we have. All right, let's get a meltdown. I want us to try to get to 2 or 3 runs at the minimum. And now we got Gabe Spire in the matchup. Let's go, Gabe. First pitch fouled off behind the plate by Kim. 0-1 count. Gabe Spire on the mound. Tae-Sung Kim in the box. And Kim homering was very unexpected. Just like Kike Hernandez homering in game 1 was kind of unexpected as well. You just assume that the Dodgers are going to beat you with Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Teoscar Hernandez, but that's not always the case. Sometimes it's going to be the other role players that kind of hit you, where it hurts the most. And that's what's happened in this series. 1-1 pitch. And Kim fouls it off himself. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Spire to Kim. Well, we didn't have our best lineup. We didn't have Polo, Julio, or Naylor playing. So we had a C- lineup with Bryce Miller against Clayton Kershaw, who's 10-2, making his last start, and an A+ lineup, a regular strong lineup for the Dodgers. So, it's not like it was a really fair, matchup today. It's like we're, going into the postseason resting guys in this last game, and then they're trying to get the sweep, and they're trying to, put it to us. So, and even if we had Polo, and Julio and Naylor play, there's no guarantee we win this, especially with Bryce giving up those 2 jacks, so, it is what it is, but, 17-1 and then to lose 3 in a row, not ideal, but again, we will bounce back and we'll find a way to win, obviously, when we go to the playoffs next weekend. First pitch is high and away to Rortvedt, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and no strikes from Spire to Rortvet. Pitch fouled off towards left field. 2 balls and 1 strike from Spire to Rortvet. Two-one pitch, right down the middle for a strike. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Spire to Rortvet. Come on, Gabe. 2-2 pitch. Fouls off again by Rortvet. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Here in the top of the 7th with nobody on and 1 out. 4-0 Dodger lead. Spire on the mound. Rortvet in the box. Come on, Gabe. Come on, Mariner Moose. We need something. 2-2 pitch. Big punch out there. And obviously we have guys that are filling in like Cole Young and others. But again, can we get some production out of the pitching staff? And we did. Nice job by Gabe. Rortvet struck out swinging. Nice job by Gabe Spire. 2 away. Next up, DHing, Shohei Ohtani. Big swing and a miss on that first pitch, 0-1 count. One pitch. Paints the corner beautifully there. No balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Oh-2 pitch, and Ohtani crushes it into center field. At the wall, and gone! And now the game might be over now. 5-0 Dodgers, and that's usually the maximum amount of runs that we can come back from. And somebody there in Seattle is going to get a Shohei Ohtani souvenir. And again, we were hoping that Ohtani didn't homer at his last at-bat, but he says, hey, give me one more chance. And just like that, 5-0 Dodgers. And that's the bad Gabe, not the good one. You know, it doesn't help that we've given up 3 home runs, 2 two-run jacks, a solo dinger, and we haven't done anything production-wise. But also, if you look at our lineup, we got like 5 guys out of 9 that are normally not in the lineup. So, you know, it's kind of hard to be able to win this game based on that fact alone. But I didn't think that we would be at 0, you know. Figured we'd be at least at 1 or 2 at this point, but... Next up is Mookie Betts. Oh-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Come on, Gabe, finish strong. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mookie Betts. Come on, Mariners, finish strong. Last broadcast on Root Sports. Let's not end with a 0. Like, play with some pride. 2-2 pitch. And Betts pops up into right field. And Rivas with the catch for out number 3. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 7th inning, and hopefully we can get on the board here. Let's see who we have up to see if we actually have a chance. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2, shortstop J.P. Crawford. Batting second, 0 for 2, right fielder today, Leo Rivas. And batting third, 1 for 2, second baseman, Cole Young. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, everything that we have, music-wise is through my producer friend, Brooks Beats, an up-and-coming producer and artist, here in the Pacific Northwest and whatnot. And, I have a lot of options, but some aren't really like baseball sounding, type of kind of like music and whatnot. So I try to kind of pick through the ones that I feel that would sound the best, on the streams that we do. But a very creative individual, and I will always support my friends that have dreams and goals. First pitch to J.P. Crawford. Takes a strike swinging right down the middle, 0-1 count. Come on, J.P. 0-1 pitch. Crushes that one foul. No balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. And we know you can do it defensively, but if there was ever a time that we needed a home run, it's fucking right now. Come on, JP. 0-2 pitch. High and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. Let's keep fighting. 1-2 pitch. J.P. crushes that one foul into left field. Bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Dodgers. Obviously not looking good, but this is the last broadcast on Root Sports. And hopefully we can find a way to get, at least a couple runs before this one's over, a couple dingers. I mean, even if it ends up being just 2 solo dingers, losing 5-2 is a lot better than 5-0. But hopefully we can find a way here late to put up at least a few runs. Now, obviously, best case scenario would to be, get to 4 or 5, but based on how we've been playing, I think maybe getting to 2 or 3 might be more realistic, but you never know. You get a couple guys on and hit a 3-run blast, then we're right back in it. It's just a matter of who's going to start the rally for the Mariners. 1-2 pitch from Knack, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Knack to J.P. Crawford. 2-2 pitch. Crushes that one foul. JP is battling. That was his 7th pitch at this at-bat. 4-seam, 4-seam, change-up, 4-seam, change-up, change-up, 4-seam. Come on, JP. And that's strike 3 looking. Brutal. What a pitch by Knack. And Knack with a little bit of electricity there on that strikeout. I see you. 1 away. Next up is Leo Rivas. Appreciate that. I hope you had a fantastic trip and have safe travels home. First pitch to Leo Rivas, fouls it off himself. 0-1 count. I do feel bad for a lot of the 40-plus, workers that, end up doing the, video, the audio, and making sure everyone is lined up, for Jen Mueller, Angie Mentink, Brad Adam, for the, pregame show and the postgame show. A lot of these employees are going to lose their jobs once Root Sports moves on and gets controlled by the MLB, whether it be called Mariners TV or whatever they decide to call it. And hopefully, they'll end up having some kind of severance package, so they'll be able to find work, either through this new MLB endeavor or something else. But a lot of people that have been working behind the scenes for Root Sports for years and years and years are going to lose their job. And, I wish the best for those guys and girls. Again, it's been a pleasure watching Root Sports over these years. And I don't really like change. I like Root Sports. And I just hope that it ends up being just as good or similar to what we're used to. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Leo Rivas. One pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Knack to Rivas. 5-0 Dodgers. And again, we just want to get on the board. 98 likes, 2 more to be able to hit 100. We should be able to hit that. 2-1 pitch. And that one is fouled off behind the plate to the T-Mobile bricks. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Leo Rivas. Nice. Congratulations. I imagine that was thrilling. Sounds like you had a fantastic trip. Bottom of the 7th, 5-0 Los Angeles. Landon Knack on the mound. Rivas in the box. 2-2 pitch and strike 3 looking, which has been a common theme for the Mariners as of late. And a nice punch out by Knack again, bringing that electricity for the Dodger fan base like my dad. 2 away. And next up, second baseman Cole Young. Oh, nice. I'll check that out. I haven't looked at a lot of my Instagram stuff since obviously, busy prepping for this stream this morning. And then I got to prep for Sunday Night Football with the Packers and the Cowboys. But once I'm done streaming with this particular Mariners matchup, as that popped up, Cole Young into left field and as out number 3, I'll take a look. Appreciate that, Bo. Well, we didn't play our strongest lineup. We didn't really have anything quote unquote to play for. And since, when you don't have something to play for, sometimes you're not going to get the best results. And it would have been better off if we had something to play for in these last 3 games. And maybe we would have been able to win 2 out of 3 or at least 1 out of 3. But right now we're on the brink of getting swept, which is not ideal. But we still got a couple innings to go to at least fight back with a little bit of pride. So. And Bizzardo is coming in, leading off for the Dodgers. First baseman Dalton Rushing. Let me get the Edward Bizzardo photo up here. And hopefully Bizzardo won't have a meltdown and we'll be good here. Top of the 8th, 5-0 Dodgers. I believe it'll go Rushing. And then I believe Teoscar Hernandez. And then Michael Conforto, I believe. We'll find out here in a moment. Nice. Sounds like you had a jam-packed vacation. That's always going to be good for the mental health, so glad that you had a great time. First pitch from Bizzardo to Rushing, high and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Nice movement there on that pitch for a strike right down the middle. Takes a strike looking. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Rushing. And Rushing crushes that into the deep right field. And that goes over Leo Rivas' head. And that's a big double for Rushing. Oh, Bizzardo. Nice job by Rushing with a little bit of electricity for the Dodger fan base there. Leo just didn't have a shot out there, and Leo normally doesn't play right field, so we can't really blame him for that. I mean, you're throwing a guy out there in a position that he normally doesn't play, so. Next up is Teoscar Hernandez. First pitch takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Come on, Bizzardo, finish strong. We need a strikeout and a double play or a double play and a strikeout. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. 0-1 pitch, high and away. In the zone for another strike looking. No balls and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. All right, take care. And have a good, safe flight home and get some rest. Now, I'll be doing Bengals and Broncos for Monday Night Football, the second game in the doubleheader tomorrow. 0-2 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Teoscar Hernandez. One-two pitch, and Teoscar pops up into center field. Rayleigh is there. And a good strong throw into JP to keep the runner, trying to keep him stranded, but obviously he ends up tagging up and walking into third. Come on, Bizzardo. Next up is left fielder Michael Conforto with 1 out with a runner at third. Let's try to keep it at 5-0, not have it explode to 6 or 7-0. Take care. First pitch fouled off there by Conforto, 0-1 count. We're at 101. There we go. We did it with limited people in the room. We got to the number. Appreciate you all day, as well as all of the others that helped out with that. TJ and Bricks and Joysticks helping out with that as well. Appreciate that. Big swing and a miss. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Conforto. And then after this game is over, I'm going to eat some lunch, take my pup on another walk, make a thumbnail for the Packers and the Cowboys. We'll catch up and talk NFL on that particular stream and enjoy some good Sunday night football, hopefully. And then obviously Monday there's a doubleheader, Dolphins and Jets, but nobody's watching that. 0-3 versus 0-3. But the second game, even though Joe Burrow is hurt, should be more interesting with the Broncos and the Bengals. And I will be doing that for Monday Night Football. And then as we go into Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, we'll see what baseball streams we potentially may do. And then Thursday, we'll do Thursday Night Football more than likely. 1-2 pitch inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Michael Conforto. And the Mariners are off until Saturday, so we'll have to, have some fill-in streams. NFL will be half of them, and then we'll probably do a couple MLB wild card games on the channel, depending on the matchups and the time. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Conforto, and that is 2 away. Next up is center fielder Andy Pages. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Come on, baby. Finish strong. One 0 pitch. Chops that one foul towards right field. 1 ball and 1 strike here in the top of the 8th, 5-0 Los Angeles, with a runner at third and 2 outs. 75 to hit the dono goal. We hit the light goal. And as far as the subs, need 71 to go to hit 22,400. One pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Andy Pages. 1-2 pitch. That one's popped up and fading foul. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Pages. Come on, Edward. Finish strong, baby. We need a rally. One-two pitch. High and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Pages. Come on, baby. 2-2 pitch. Low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Pages to Bizzardo. Bizzardo to Pages. Let's go. Come on now. Count is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes with a runner at third and 2 outs. Keep him at 5-0 here. 3-2 pitch. And a line drive into left. And of course, Randy is the one that has to get the ground ball. Lazy as ever. Lazy throw. And that scores another 6-0 Dodgers. I am not sure if Judge has homered today or not. Someone could look that up, though. And Bizzardo's day is done, and looks like Luke Jackson will be coming in. I mean, the Packers beat the Lions, and that was impressive. And we thought, wow, maybe the Packers are just like the Eagles, and they're very good this year. And then they ended up losing to the Browns last week. So, anybody can beat anyone on any given Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. We obviously assume the Cowboys are going to lose. Micah is going to play against his former team. We assume that the Packers are going to win, but if the Cowboys get off to a fast start, they might have a chance, but CeeDee Lamb is injured. So it's like they don't really have anything on offense. They don't really have anything on defense. They're not a very good team, Dallas. So, I mean, the Packers would really have to fumble the bag with turnovers to lose that game. But again, hopefully it ends up being entertaining. And then I will be doing that later today, as well as the Broncos and the Bengals tomorrow. The second double header game. First game is the Dolphins and Jets, the battle of the bads, 0-3 versus 0-3. No one's watching that unless you have fantasy players playing. But again, I do think that the second game, Broncos and Bengals tomorrow on Monday night, will be good. Even though Burrow is injured, I think that they'll still make it interesting. So no home run for Judge. Yeah. I mean, obviously, Mariner fans want Cal, Yankee fans want Judge, but the right thing to do is to be co-MVP this year. Both guys are deserving. Cal obviously being a catcher, leading in home runs and ribbies, and then obviously Judge leading in his batting average and slugging and OPS and everything else. And on top of that, was able to get over 50 home runs himself. So, I feel that, no matter how much love or hate you have for Judge or Cal, I think that if there was ever a year to have co-MVP, it's this year. And then obviously Schwarber has had a fantastic year, but he's not going to be able to be co-MVP with Ohtani. Ohtani will win that outright. So, but Schwarber, Cal, Ohtani, and Judge have had amazing seasons, and it's kind of cool to see Schwarber and Cal be on the same level as the other two, which normally have put themselves in a category by themselves. So. Yes, we're definitely going to be doing Oregon, Indiana. Absolutely. And I would have done Oregon and Penn State, but I tried to stay loyal to the Mariner fan base. And we did get good views in game 1 and game 2. 16, 17,000 on game 1, 12, 13,000 in game 2. And I think I would have gotten similar numbers if I did Ducks and Penn State. I think it would have been somewhere in that 10 to 20,000 range, more than likely. But, the Mariners are the reason why we're at the sub count that we're at today. And I have all the love for the Ducks and the Buccaneers and my other teams that I follow. And if games are going to overlap, sometimes it sucks. I want to be able to do both, but sometimes, I don't have the ability to. So, but yeah, we'll definitely be doing some Oregon games moving forward for sure. 1-2 pitch. And then obviously once the baseball season's over, more focus on college football and the NFL. And then once football's over, then we'll, transition to a little bit of NBA, NHL, and NASCAR for like a month, like in February, March. And then when we're back into baseball again, we'll be doing Mariners. So 1-2 pitch. Slow dribbler towards third base, foul by Kike Hernandez. Luke Jackson on the mound, Hernandez in the box. One-two pitch, fouled off behind the plate. Luke Jackson on the mound. Kike Hernandez in the box. One-two pitch. And on top of that, also, too, Cal breaking the catcher record. Like, does that not mean anything? Like, the record was 48 home runs out of any catcher that's ever lived, and he got 60. And you're going to tell me that is not worth a consideration of anything? It's like, I get it, Judge with this amazing 350 average and 50 home runs and whatnot. But again, catcher is the hardest position to play. And to be able to beat the home run record by 12 home runs, it's not like he beat it by 1 or 2. He beat it by 12, So again, there's definitely going to be pros and cons, based on the, fan bases on why this guy should win or why this guy shouldn't win. But in reality, both guys are deserving this year. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss, and down goes Kike. Nice punch out there by Luke Jackson. But as Mariner fans, would we love if Cal got it outright? Of course we would. That's what we're rooting for, that Cal wins it outright. Judge can get it every year. Same thing with Ohtani. Every year they can be the guy. Can we give Cal it one time? And he may be in the running in the future as well. I mean, Cal for MVP, this might not be like a 1-year thing. It might be like a regular year thing. And we'll see what happens with the voters. All right, let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning and see who's up next here for the Mariners. And hopefully we can get to at least one before the game is up. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 2, first baseman Miles Mastrobuoni. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And batting third in his potentially last at-bat to get to 61 home runs, 0 for 2 with a base on ball and a K, sitting at 60 home runs. It's the big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. Yeah, I mean, the toughest games for Oregon were going to be that road game against Penn State, number 1, road game against the Huskies, the last regular season game of the schedule of the Big Ten. That would be 2. And then there would be, like you mentioned, a couple other challenging games, potentially, like maybe USC, and whatnot. So, but again, I mean, it's very possible Oregon goes undefeated, but I don't want them to go undefeated and sit for a month like they did last season and then lose. Like every team that had a bye lost. It's like I almost want to be like Ohio State and play every week. And if that means that we have to lose a game or 2 to play every week and go all the way, I would rather do that and go 10-2 and win the Natty than go 12-0, sit for a month, play somebody, and then lose. And then the season's over like it was last year. So, I mean, it's not necessarily, going undefeated or losing one game is great, but at the end of the day, there's only one champion, and that's what it's about, is winning the Natties. First pitch to Mastrobuoni from Knack is fouled off high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, fouled behind the plate again. No balls and 2 strikes to Miles Mastrobuoni. Come on, Miles. You've been one of the better bench guys on the roster. Knack on the mound. Mastrobuoni in the box. Yeah, I mean, you could say that for a lot of the mid teams, that are in the middle of, the Big Ten, Indiana, Illinois, USC, teams that are usually, ranked in the top 25. Sometimes they're going to show up, show out, and sometimes they're going to get. And Mastrobuoni with a big hit into right field. Run, go. And if he ran hard, maybe he would be able to get a triple out of that, but he jogs into second for a double. And obviously we don't want him to push for a triple and get thrown out. But based on the laziness of that right fielder, I mean, he probably could have went 3 and been safe. I mean, usually when we're talking about laziness and no effort, we're talking about Randy, not someone else. And I get it at this point of the game, everyone's going through the motions. They're not trying to, necessarily like win, it's just like, they're waiting for the game to end so they can have their hugs and congratulations and, pack up, take a shower, go eat dinner, fly back home or go to your house and whatnot. But, with these last 2 innings here on Root Sports, I would love for the Mariners not to get goose-egged. And it looks like they're reviewing it and saying that it is foul, brutal. And after looking at the replay, it was really close. But I assume that they'll have him go back in the batter's box. I mean, nothing can go our way today, huh? Foul ball. Of course it's a foul ball. Oh, come on, Miles. And hopefully he'll be able to find a way to not strike out on this next pitch, which typically happens after a challenge goes against you and you have an 0-2 count. You know, usually it's a big swing and a miss and strike three, but let's see if Miles can fight that adversity. Bottom of the 8th, 6-0 Los Angeles. And Master Boney's getting all the padding back on. And hopefully we can find a way to get at least a run or two before this one is over. But again, you know, going against a team that is trying to sweep us with their best lineup, and we're going with one of our worst lineups of the season, if not the worst. And, you know, Bryce Miller giving up two-run jacks isn't ideal, but even if you negate that, we're still down 2-0, even if Bryce doesn't give up anything. So, again, the hitters have not done their part, so to speak. So we'll see what we get here. 2-2 pitch. And there is strike three, just like I predicted, on the 0-2 pitch after a challenge goes against you. And when you know baseball, you know baseball. And that is one away. Next up is left fielder Randy Arozarena. First pitch is high and away, 1-0 count. Come on, Randy. I mean, you got to do something to make up for the poor defense in left field. Like, let's get a home run here to make it 6-1. 1-0 pitch. Pitch is high and inside for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Knack to Arozarena. One pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Knack to Arozarena. Bottom of the 8th, 6-0 Los Angeles. Come on, Hams, finish strong. 2-1 pitch, low and away. 3 balls and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. Come on, Randy. We got Cal on deck. I mean, let's get to at least 2 if we can. 3-1 pitch. High and inside. And Randy is on base now. And let's see if we can get home run number 61 by Cal Raleigh. This will be his last at-bat of the regular season. And hopefully Cal can hit a 2-run jack. And if he does that, he'll get to 61. And I'll be a happy man. I mean, considering that we're at 6-0 right now. And if we get to 6-2, there's a chance that we could even get to 3 or 4 before the game is up. We might not win, but it's a hell of a lot better on the scoreboard being at 2-4 rather than 0. First pitch, high and inside, takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. Come on, big dumper. Come on, Cal. Give us that electricity we want. We want home run number 61. Come on, MVP, Cal Raleigh. 0-1 pitch from Knack. Big swing and a miss from Cal. No balls and 2 strikes to big dumper Cal Raleigh. Come on, Cal. Oh-2 pitch. Cal crushes it in the gap. And that's a nice base hit for Cal. We didn't get the home run, but now we got runners on the corners at first and third with 1 out. Here we go. I mean, you got to look at your little wins, little W's. You know, obviously we're going to more than likely get swept unless we have the biggest comeback, you know, of the season besides the Astro game when we were down 5-0 in the 8th and we scored 7 runs in the 8th and the 9th combined and won 7-6. I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but at least we got something positive here late. And Cal is going to have a pinch runner. And now we also have an opportunity for Gino to hit his 50th home run. If he hits a home run here at 6-3, and we're in business. Come on, Gino. We know you strike out a shit ton, but if there was ever a time that we could get something positive from you, it'd be right here. Let's go, Gino. Home run number 50. Come on, Eugenio Suarez. Let's make this a 6-3 game. First pitch. Almost hits Gino. Jesus. Almost hits him in the face. Batting helmet goes flying. That's not what we wanted. And luckily he's able to move his body and contort his body out of there. That definitely shook him up there. 1-0 count. Come on, Gino. Naylor is more valuable than you, but I would love to see you hit home run 50 here. 1-0 pitch, line drive to third. And a nice one hopper for 2 away. God, Kike Hernandez, what defense there. And we weren't able to bring anybody home based off where that ball was hit. So looks like Gino is going to be stuck at 49 home runs, just like Cal stuck at 60. And I believe the last potential batter is going to be Mitch Garver, unless we can end up getting a Garv bomb to make it 6. Oh, did we end up getting someone to score there? Oh, looks like we did. All right, the runner did come home, so it's 6-1. There we go. I wasn't sure if he actually came home or not. The cameraman didn't really point in that area, so we ended up getting the run scored there. We'll take that. And Suarez grounds out, and Randy Arosarena scores, and Ford went from first to second. Pinch running for Cal. And now we got Mitch Garver. If Mitch can hit a home run, we'll be at 6-3. I mean, 6-1 is a hell of a lot better than 6-0. 1-0 pitch. Low and away. Probably should have been called ball, but called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Knack to Garver. Come on, baby. No shutout. And I know, obviously an L is an L, but again, we have to be positive. 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike from Landon Knack to Mitch Garver. Come on, Garv sauce. Give me something. Give me a 2-run jack to make it 6-3. 2-1 pitch. On the corner, paints it beautifully. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mitch Garver. Come on, Mitch. Bottom of the 8th. Runner at second, Harry Ford running for Cal with 2 outs. 6-1 Dodgers, so we're not at 0 anymore, thank God. Wish it didn't take into the 8th inning for us to get our first run, but it is what it is. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Garver, and that is out number 3, but at least we're not at 0. All right, let's go to the top of the 9th inning, and we'll see who's up next here for the Dodgers. And Guardians win the AL Central. So does that mean that that's who we play? The Guardians and Mariners play each other? And then Tigers take the wild card. Like how is the bracket playing out? Like who's playing who? Have we figured out on the brackets like who's playing? The Blue Jays. I mean, I've seen the preliminary bracket. It's like Red Sox, Yankees, and then, somebody's playing the Blue Jays. And then it had like Tigers, Guardians, potentially playing the Mariners and whatnot. So. But if you have the bracket, and if the bracket has been updated on ESPN or MLB.com, would be curious to see how that's all going to play out for the teams. And obviously we're not going to know all of the matchups until all the games are over in the American League or National League here today. So. All right, they're just showing it now. Right on cue. So Tigers, Guardians are playing each other. Red Sox, Yankees. And Guardians are the 3 seed. And then the winner of the Guardians, Tigers will play the Mariners. And I don't really care who we play out of that. And honestly, we have the hardest time playing probably the Yankees out of all the teams that are left for whatever reason. Past history and just struggles against them. We don't match up with them the greatest. And we'll see if the Red Sox can beat the Yankees, but that'll be a tough task. And we'll see who wins between Yankees and Blue Jays. That one could definitely, be a situation where we end up playing the Yankees in the ALCS or the Blue Jays. Obviously, if we win against the Guardians or the Tigers, but we'll see where we go. Yeah, Guardians have the tiebreaker against the Tigers. I did read that this morning. And Kim flies out to left, and that is 1 away. Luke Jackson is still on the mound for the Mariners. First pitch is high and away. 1-0 count. Rortvedt in the box. And Luke Jackson on the mound. 1-0 pitch in there for a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike from Jackson to Rortvedt. Big swing and a miss by Rortvedt. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here in the top of the 9th with nobody on and 1 out. 6-1 Dodger lead. Now let's see if Luke can retire the side, and then we have one last chance to try to get to 3 before the game is over. I mean, unless we can go on some monster 5-run rally, but you would have to have like one of the most epic meltdowns by a closer for the Dodgers for that to happen. I mean, we have seen some meltdowns happen, but based on this being the last regular season game, and I'm not sure how many of the guys are still believing that they can come back at this point, realistically. Yeah, I mean, the Tigers were up by so many, wins, and then the Guardians ended up, finding a way, to, challenge them, and win the division and whatnot. And if I'm the Tigers, that's probably the last team I want to see. And Rortvedt gets tagged out by Luke Jackson, and that is 2 away. And then obviously the Red Sox and Yankees, that's a great rivalry. And then, we'll see where it goes. If the Mariners and Blue Jays are the ones that advance, we know them inside and out, and we know we can beat them, And again, Yankees, Red Sox, do give us problems. I will admit to that. And then obviously with the Guardians and the Tigers, Guardians play us really well most of the time. We were able to sweep the Tigers on the road, but, the Tigers are a pretty good team. At least they were. Right now, they don't look like it, but, things could change in the playoffs. But if you get hot and healthy at the right time, we will see where it goes. Ohtani fouls that one off. 0-1 count. Top of the 9th, 6-1 Dodger lead. 0-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. But the team that we probably would want to avoid if we could would probably be the Yankees. Just based on past history and the way they play us. For whatever reason, we have a hard time beating them. I mean, and again, there's a few other teams that, will be challenging. But I think that out of all the teams, that's probably the team that we don't want to see, because that is a team that, potentially, even though I think our roster is better than theirs, but potentially we could, and we already know when we go to New York, all the calls go to them. It's like 90-10 New York. And I don't, if we can get a chance to have the Red Sox beat them or the Blue Jays beat them, that would probably be better for us, But again, if it ends up being Yankees, Mariners to make it to the World Series, again, I'm not afraid. I know we can beat them, but we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. Appreciate you, Chris. 2-2 pitch, low and at the knees by Luke Jackson. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Shohei Ohtani. Appreciate that, Chris. It's been a long season. I promised to do, pretty much 155 out of the 162 games. And the only games that I would miss is 1 a month, for a WWE pay-per-view or PLE like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Now that ESPN has bought in the rights and they want to charge $30 a month to watch, WWE that way, I will not pay that. So we may not be doing WWE PLEs on the channel anymore. Obviously I can watch it through a streaming link, but then you're like, obviously 15 to 30 seconds behind. So we will find out if I decide to do PLEs on the channel anymore or not. So, and Ohtani strikes out there on that four-seam fastball by Luke Jackson. And now the Mariners are down to their last 3 outs and the last broadcast here on Root Sports. And let's see if we can get to 3 if possible. Easier said than done. Next up, 0 for 3 with 3 Ks. Center fielder Luke Raley. Wish we would have brought up Ben Williamson instead. Batting second, 1 for 3 with a K, J.P. Crawford. And batting third, 0 for 3 with a K, playing right field for the first time, Leo Rivas. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Great job, you guys. Great job, Captain. Great job, TJ. And again, with limited viewership to get to 110, awesome. And obviously, if this was not during an NFL Sunday, time period, we would have had more. So, and we gained another sub. Only 70 to go to 22,400. Shout out to the new subs. Shout out to the people that are helping us get to our numbers. Appreciate you guys. And let's see if the Mariners can have one more dash of magic so that way we can get to a minimum of 2, but preferably 3 before the game ends. And I would love to get a home run before the regular season is over. At least one more home run ball souvenir for some fan in the outfield. It's been a long season, but it's been a fun season. Winning the AL West for the first time in 24 years. We got a bye with the Blue Jays. And again, we're not looking at just, ALDS or ALCS. We have aspirations and dreams to make it to the World Series and win. And again, those are high goals, but again, when you go this far and you have this much success, you don't just dream about making it to the playoffs and losing. You want to go all the way. So, and we actually have one of the strongest teams in the American League to do that. So it actually is kind of a realistic statement. We just have to bring it and hope that Wu and Naylor are healthy as well. First pitch by Raley, fouled off, 0-1 count. See if Raley can get to home run number 5 on the season before time runs out on him here. Knack still on the mound, Raley in the box, 0-1 pitch. And Raley crushes that one foul behind the plate. No balls and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Oh-2 pitch inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes to Luke Raley. Knuckle curve was low and at the knees there by Landon Knack. Bottom of the 9th, 6-1 Dodger lead. I'm ready for some lunch. And big swing and a miss. On cue, Luke Raley. Ben Williamson, should have brought him back up. Just saying. He deserved to be on this team at the end of the year based on how he played for us at the beginning of the year. Facts. Like, what does Luke Raley do? Play shitty defense and can't hit. At least, with Williamson, he can hit and his defense is stellar. Next up is J.P. Crawford. First pitch to J.P. fouled off, 0-1 count. Yeah, 100%. Not what we wished for. And if we had something to play for, maybe we win 2 out of 3. But again, great season. We won the AL West, first time in 24 years. The Astros are out of the playoffs. And again, we have just as good of a chance as any team in baseball to go all the way. So that's exciting. 1-1 pitch. And I do believe, moving forward, not only this year, for the next 10, 20 years while I do this channel, if the Mariners end up winning the World Series, this channel will explode in a realm of views and subs and donos that we've never seen before. So obviously the Mariners being relevant is going to be great for the movement of this channel. And obviously we got NFL and, college football and NHL and NBA and WWE and NASCAR for other options. But really what's going to, make this channel move as if, the Ducks win the Natty and the Mariners win the pennant. First pitch is high and away after a few pitches there, low and away and high and away. So now the count is full, 3 balls and 2 strikes to J.P. Crawford. I mean, of course, I could have done the Ducks and Penn State game over, the Mariners, and obviously I could have did Bucks Eagles this morning over this, but I wanted to make sure, even though it wasn't looking too pretty for us in this series, that, we show the love and appreciation for all the hard work that we put in all year as JP strikes out, and that is 2 away. And potentially our last batter in the 2025 regular season, Leo Rivas. Let's see if we can get Leo with a solo dinger off Knack to surprise him, and then we get to 2. Come on, Leo. First pitch to Rivas, fouls it off, 0-1 count. Come on, Rivas, finish strong. 6-2 looks a hell of a lot better on the scoreboard than 6-1. And shout out to all of the regulars and all of the individuals that have watched this stream throughout this year and in years past. Next year will be year number 10 on YouTube for me. 14 years next year. This year is 13 years streaming, 9 on YouTube, and we definitely made some ground and had a lot of fun this year. And Rivas pops up, and this should be the last out. And there it is, Kike Hernandez with out number 3. Final score, Dodgers 6, Mariners 1. It could have been worse, right? We could have gotten a 0. And again, I really do appreciate every single one of y'all that has enjoyed this amazing run with me. And again, it just makes it that much more enjoyable when you have people that love the same thing that you do. And, it's been a long time coming from this team. For some of us like me and Marine Bean, we've been fans, 30 plus years. And for others, it's been, maybe 15 years or less. But one thing is for sure common with all of us. We all love the Mariners, no matter what happens. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very much. Final broadcast on Root Sports. It's going to be something I'm going to miss dearly. And hopefully, moving forward, Mariners TV through MLB will be hopefully similar, if not better, based on the camera work and the people they have involved. So I love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. And final score, Dodgers 6, Mariners 1. I'm going to eat lunch, take my pup on a walk, make a thumbnail, and I will be live for Sunday Night Football for us to talk NFL, Packers, and Cowboys. So if you guys enjoy the NFL or enjoy me and want to be able to hang out later tonight, I will be live. And I also will be live for Monday Night Football with the Bengals and the Broncos. Second game of the doubleheader because nobody's watching, obviously, that first game, which we know is the battle of the bads, 0-3 versus 0-3. So love you guys, and I appreciate you very, very much. Shout out to all the people that like, sub, donated, commented, and shared. And I got one question for you. Well, talk sports like us. Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys. And I'm out. Go M's. Tridents up. Seize the moment.